The reflecting pool has been vandalized quite a bit by unhinged liberals that hate Trump, no matter what he does, no matter why he does it. And this has to be the stupidest story, maybe the stupidest story in my lifetime as it pertains to politics. Donald Trump, the president, wanted to fix the reflecting pool in the National Mall, and it's had problems for decades. It's been leaking, and it's been a massive strain on the D.C. water supply. So they said, let's fix it. Donald Trump tried to fix it. Didn't go so well, but now there's been 5 arrests of individuals who have been accused of vandalizing the reflecting pool. And I'm already hearing from liberals saying no one is vandalizing it. Trump just failed. And the liner just cracked and peeled off for no reason. Yet there is a video of someone having etched 8647 into the reflecting pool. So clearly these people are vandalizing it. Now, I'll just say this. They've started putting up cameras. They're secretly filming people. There's informants. And there are people that are messing with the reflecting pool. Now, I'm being careful here. I don't know that all of it's vandalism, but they did arrest some like Olympian cyclist guy or paddle kayaker or something like this. And they said he vandalized it. He claims he didn't. Yet, there's videos of people reaching in and digging around and trying to grab stuff. And, you know, the snowflake doesn't blame itself for the avalanche. And here's the big problem. Let's say somebody looks at the reflecting pool and sees a little piece that's like peeled or a bump. And so they start flicking with their finger and peeling on it and then walk away. And then someone else comes and pulls a little more. Eventually the thing cracks off and they're like, hey, don't look at me. This is exactly what we see with riots, where the individual doesn't walk up and yell, we're going to storm the building. One person goes up, others follow, and each takes a small action. So I think that's the important point as it pertains to these lesser issues of vandalism. The most important thing is there's quite literally graffiti on it. There are cuts to it. Trump says there's a 300-foot gash, which is crazy, and I don't know how much I believe it. But if you came to me and said, do you think that the people that sealed the reflecting pool failed, or do you think liberals vandalized it? I'm going to tell you that I think liberals vandalized it because the fact that they're mad about it in the first place, and there are many of them, it's very easy to throw a wrench into the spokes of a machine. It's very difficult to build it. So that being said, Whoopi Goldberg says she wouldn't mind Trump going to jail for trying to fix it. And there's a bunch of now pro-algae protesters, I kid you not, chanting to defend the algae in the reflecting pool. So listen, it's a rock and a hard place, I guess, and the stupidest of stories. Because in the meantime, we got 2 big stories. Gavin Newsom's facing prison time. That's massive. Apparently, his wife is being accused of running a nonprofit where big corporations were donating. And these are corporations that needed favors from Gavin Newsom, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, tomorrow we've got some SCOTUS rulings coming down, and it's going to be big if they rule or how they rule on Watson v. RNC, which could end universal mail-in voting. So we shall see. But in the meantime, we'll talk about all of what's going on. We got California voter fraud investigations. California is pissed. We'll get into that. Before we do, got a great sponsor for you guys. It is Tax Network USA. Do y'all owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? Or have you filed every year but you still keep owing? Are you a business owner with messy books and a balance you cannot afford? However your tax year started, the outcome is the same. Your balance is not going down, penalties grow, interest compounds, and many of you are about to owe again for this upcoming tax year with no plan in place. Stop what you're doing and call Tax Network USA. The IRS is not waiting. The IRS is enforcing collections through wage garnishments, bank levies, and property seizures. They can even file for you without your consent. This is where Tax Network USA comes in. With over 15 years in the business, there hasn't been a tax case they haven't seen or resolved. They specialize in tax controversies and help taxpayers nationwide get back on track by resolving back taxes and unfiled returns once and for all. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, their team has resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. They can do the same for you, but you got to call now. They're offering a free investigation call with the IRS. After that, they'll put a clear case plan in place to resolve your tax problem, get you back on track. It's about using your legal rights to take control before the government sets the terms for you. Do not wait for another IRS letter or a frozen bank account. Call 866-686-1535. That's 866-686-1535. Or visit tnusa.com/Tim. Check it out. Thanks for sponsoring the show. And join us at timcast.com. Become members to support the show and the work that we do. We can't do it without you. We got tens of thousands of members hanging out every single day. They're talking. They have their own shows. There's meetups, hangouts. We got the new coffee shop open up very, very soon. So you got to get on board now supporting the work that we do, and getting involved in all of us. Don't forget to also smash the like button. Share this show on all platforms. Tell everybody you know to watch it. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Viva Frei.
Tim, how goes the battle?
It goes good. What about you?
Well, I mean, I'm hearing the news coming out of my hometown, not far from where I live, and it doesn't look good what's going on in Canada.
Yeah, crazy story out of Montreal. We don't really know yet what or why, but this guy was shooting. He shot 2 cops, I think.
He shot 2 cops, apparently, from the information now. Killed 1 cop, critically injured another. There's a civilian, a bystander who got shot and killed, and it's unclear if it was the cop who shot him or the gunman. Don't know the name of the gunman yet. Don't know if there's a manifesto yet. And
Lady cop.
Say it again?
Lady cop.
Well, it's a lady cop. I mean, people are taking that angle for the time being.
Video?
It does.
I've seen the video.
It does look like the lady cop shoots the guy because the way the guy recoils when the shooting happens. And what people are saying is that the civilian is fleeing the shooter, and he comes around the corner, and she just looks up and shoots him without a second thought. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it does look like that, and you can see when you slow it down, you can even see blood splatter to some extent. Still, I mean, I would have imagined you might see more recoil in her hands. I know some people are saying there is recoil at the very same moment. The shooter was 15 feet away with a plain line of sight. And we'll see. And then one way or another, people are saying, a civilian running up on a cop who's tucked and covered, that you can't blame her. I just saw a tweet from Luke Rudkowski who said if she was trained properly, she wouldn't be cowering behind. And I'm not saying she is the one, but the police officer would not be cowering behind a brick with no line of the threat. So it's all post facto. But we've got to know who the guy is, what the rationale was, and the government is going to jump on this tragedy.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy, man. Well, yeah, we'll cover that story, too. It's great to have you, of course. Anytime the boys are hanging out.
Cheery start to things, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, guys? It's Brett. Normally doing PCC Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. on YouTube and Rumble. You should join us there, but it's good to be here. Phil, how you doing?
Good. What's up, everybody? I'm Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. What's up, Carter?
What's up, everyone? Carter Banks here, hanging out, pressing the buttons, and compressing the audio and such. Thanks for coming, everyone, and let's get
Here's the news. We got it from Breitbart. Whoopi Goldberg, Trump should go to jail for reflecting pool repairs. Well, kind of. She said she would let him go because Trump says he's got 10 years in jail for these vandals. So I'm just going to start right off the bat for all the libs out there that are like, no one's vandalizing the pool. Let me see if I can pull it this week. Got a bunch of tweets. Oh, wait. Here's a video from Nick Sorter. Exclusive. United States Park Police are investigating an 8647 inscription on the sealant in the reflecting pool. There you go. It's been vandalized. Like, this is a fact. Somebody etched 8647 into the reflecting pool. And this was last week we found this. So when Trump is like, they're vandalizing the pool, and libs come out and go, no, they're not. They are, and they're lying about it.
I gotta play devil's advocate. Is the extent of that vandalism that they scrubbed off the algae and just left a mark in the underlying finish? That looks like they just rubbed off the algae, not like they necessarily carved it into the that's easy to do in 5 seconds.
You mean like make a negative out of it? Kind of.
Yeah, like if
negative space.
You've ever had a fish tank and you get algae on the walls and you squeegee it off.
Yeah,
and
like when someone's windows got dust on it, you kind of do one of these.
I think that's like a spirit of the law, letter of the law type thing. I think given the point they're making, she's making it seem like it's crazy that somebody would bother doing anything there when clearly the idea is that there are people there that don't like Trump and apparently don't like the reflecting pool redesign or whatever the heck is going on.
They just don't like Trump.
And they just don't like Trump. So it's like, is it necessarily vandalism? Perhaps not, but it's definitely still obviously causing all sorts of problems.
I mean, look.
I think it's an issue of the snowflakes and the avalanche. What I think happens is you've got probably tens of thousands of people passing by every day. And the story goes like this for a riot. When people break into a building during, like, smash out windows, a single individual doesn't, for the most part, decide in their mind, you know what? I'm going to smash out the windows, storm into that building, and everyone will follow. What happens is you got a big crowd of people, and one guy walks towards the door. Everybody sees him walk towards the door, so they start following him. The guy, someone else says, oh, is he going in the building? I'm going to see if the door's unlocked. And he grabs the door handle to pull on it to see if it's unlocked. Everybody else sees him reaching for the handle and thinks, oh, we're going inside. Someone then comes up and thinks, man, he can't get the door open, so they kick the door. Someone then sees him kick the door and goes, oh, we're breaking in. Everybody contributes one small thing without the intention, which creates a cascade effect where someone then launches a chair, shattering the window. Someone then says, I'm going to peek inside to see what's up. People see him stick his head in, and they assume we're going in. So what I'm saying here is, We've got tons of these videos. If you look at the TMZ story, you can see this woman reaching down. This guy's filming her, and she's grabbing something. She ultimately got in trouble. They say she was busted dipping her hand into the memorial. What may have happened? She may have reached in to feel the sealant. It could be very, very simple in that they sealed the whole thing. Some lib walks up and says, I heard Trump ruined it, because they're psychotically obsessed about it, reaches in and starts flicking at it, and then walks away. Then another person walks up later and sees the edge peeled and then sticks their finger in it and peels a little bit and then walks away. You do that with 17 people throughout the day, and eventually a big chunk is now floating off, and none of them says, I did it. None of them will claim responsibility for it. But they have arrested 5 people already. One of these guys, I guess, is some Olympian kayaker. Is that what he is? And he's like, I didn't do anything. But the issue is, actually, what I think happened is he was seen removing a piece of sealant, and they were like, okay, like, that's it. It's you. And when he says, I didn't tear it, I didn't do anything, that's where it says to me that this is a snowflake and an avalanche scenario where the libs are all hyper obsessed with a reflecting pool. So they're all contributing a little bit to its destruction, and no one's taking responsibility.
Well, then is the idea here that he saw a piece hanging loose and he without malice, he pulled it up and just did something he wasn't supposed to do? It's technically vandalism, but it's not what they're making it out to be here.
So, no, I disagree. I liken this to the Tweedledee Tweedledum death threat thing, where, are you familiar with Tweedledee Tweedledum death threats?
Yes, but remind the rest of the people who are not, Tim.
Yes. So if I said something like, all Nazis should be, if you know what I mean, right? I'm not going to say it on YouTube. Rumble's fine with it. And then you responded by turning and pointing to Brett and saying, that's a Nazi. Effectively, each of our individual statements does not warrant a legitimate threat under the eyes of the law. But together, Tweedledee and Tweedledum just instructed a crowd to go murder somebody. And if they do, those 2 individuals say, we never told them to. I just said Nazis should be. And then he pointed to a guy and called him a Nazi. Then when the crowd reacts, they say, you can't charge us criminally. So I look at this like, I think it's fair to say, I don't think we have a dude jumping with a knife and just hacking away at it or anything crazy like that. I think we have unhinged libs jabbing at it and pulling at it because they hate Trump and they've heard these stories. They heard Trump wasted their money. They're literally calling for Trump to go to jail over this. So I'm just going to say it again. I don't think we're getting like this hippie biker guy pulling a knife out and secretly cutting away at it. I think he reached in and grabbed it and started jerking at it and then caused damage. And they're all contributing a little bit and then saying, don't look at me. I didn't do anything.
Could be, but
lock him up.
At the end of the day, this is the same kind of thing as like Trump could cure cancer, and then they'd be like, oh, well, I'm on Team Cancer. It's just that almost insane kind of like hatred for Trump is just like, oh, if Trump did it, then it's always bad. It's always bad. There's nothing that he can do that's good. And it's exhausting to listen to these.
The algae thing is funny because algae is obviously just algae in a swamp.
Well,
so
the algae would be easier to sabotage if you just dump in some nitrates or some fertilizer. Then you can actually spawn. That would be easier to chuck a glass in and have it be discreet.
And that's what he's claiming happened.
Well,
Trump is saying that vandals threw in some chemicals to cause an algal bloom.
And that I wouldn't put that past anybody. My only issue is there's a 24/7 live feed of the Washington pool. It's from a distance away. I would presume that you could see if there was some sort of suspicious activity on the perimeter. I would never doubt that it's not beyond the realm. I mean, these people are nuts, and they will do anything to sabotage Trump, even if it means lying, but certainly if they can actually make it happen in real life. So, throwing some nitrates, some fertilizer, that's an easier thing to make algae bloom, not the end of the world. Then he puts in the hydrogen peroxide, and then a duck is found dead, and then they say he killed the duck, and this is the left's version of Harambe. Will someone think of the ducks? And people...
I'm less inclined to believe the fertilizer or nitrates or anything like that. I think algae just grows in stagnant water in a swamp. DC is a swamp.
One of the explanations was that it was in the pipes and they couldn't get it out of the pipes until they flushed it out, and that it was expected to have something of an algae bloom. Anybody who's from Canada, you get algae blooms in warm water in the summer. Yeah. It's just the thing. And it's not the end of the world.
But why would Trump come out and be like, it was vandals who made the algae come, it's not my fault? He could have just been like, we expected algae to bloom and we were going to do the treatment process after the fact. It's been 2 weeks. Thank you and have a nice day.
Oh, because they're going to crap on it because it's Trump.
Why is Trump trying to win over their favor? Trump should come out and he should be like, are you all really that stupid? We knew there was going to be... If Trump should come out and be like, It's a pool of water in Washington, D.C. Yes, there's algae. We didn't finish. We sealed it, filled it back up. Algae will bloom after we fill it up. The algae's not going to bloom before the water's in it, and you're going to treat the algae after the fact. Why is this news? I hate liberals. This is what they waste their time on, and now I have to talk about it, and then Trump makes stupid excuses for it. Guys, Lord have mercy.
This is the $15 or $30 million it costs to fix the pool. That's the scandal, and they won't talk or don't want to talk about what happens in Minnesota, in California.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
the selective outrage over the minuscule, infinitesimal fraud compared to the other bigger stuff. This is their distraction.
And I think Trump
fraud,
is intentionally inflaming it.
It's
I
possible.
think Trump is doing this because this story doesn't move the needle on favorability. Democrats are going to hate him, Republicans aren't going to care, and independents aren't going to care. So Trump is probably like, I can have Iran war news where people are attacking us, which is in the news cycle right now, or we can just go ham on this. There's algae in the water. And then what's he going to do? To independents, he's going to be like, oh, you're mad there was algae in D.C. pool water? I'm surprised.
Well, it's not a bad idea that he's keeping this going and like needling them so that they keep talking about it, as opposed to focusing on other more substantive
It'd be
issues.
much worse news, yeah.
Did anybody dump algae in that new Obama library? That would have like.
Do they have water?
No idea.
Don't do a Tweedledee Tweedledum. Hey, the library's over there.
That
is kind of crazy though with the death threats and threats we've seen. The liberals have all adopted this Tweedledee Tweedledum strategy, and they don't get charged for it, and the law can't adapt to it.
I do have a, not to belabor this idiotic story. It is idiotic. When they focus on the dead duck and say Trump killed a baby duck with hydrogen peroxide, on the one hand, the reasonable part of me says, just tell them what the mortality rate of baby ducks are. It's like 70% don't make it to adulthood. But the flip side is they're sending out the signal now, kill a bird, throw a dead bird in the water, and blame it on Trump. It's the modern iteration of throwing a brick through your own window to fundraise.
Well,
they're going to
Viva,
do it.
Listen, we got the story, from Newsweek. Dead duck found in a reflecting pool. Right now, we in the podcasting business, in the media business, are in trouble. People don't really care all that much about politics, and we have to find something to get their attention. Now, for those that don't want to get on the Israel train, have no choice but to go on the Trump murdered a duck train. Pick your news outrage because nothing else is going on worth talking about.
What do you feel about like the producer who had to call up like the duck experts to get their opinion on the dead ducks? They're like, Bob, do we got like any duck experts here? Like somebody really knows their stuff about ducks.
Let's see what's the reason.
Bad.
What's the reason a baby duck? Hydrogen peroxide. Critics said they speculated the hydrogen peroxide added to the reflecting pool to combat algae would have contributed to the duck's death. I'm going to tell you this, guys. The amount of hydrogen peroxide they added to the reflecting pool won't even stop the algae. The most important thing to understand is when a bunch of dudes show up each carrying 2 gallons of hydrogen peroxide and they all dump it in the pool, it did kill the algae at the edge and then very quickly dissipates and the algae came right back. So when they're like the hydrogen peroxide, no, the concentration of hydrogen peroxide they put in the reflecting pool was a waste of time. I got no problem saying that. I also don't care because they spent like $1,000 on hydrogen peroxide, and I'm like, okay, I guess. And then Hunter Biden comes out and he's talking to Joe Rogan about like Donald Trump does not own the White House to host these UFC events, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, you guys don't actually care about any of this. You are mad no matter what happens. If Trump tries to fix a national monument, you're mad about it. And they say Trump shouldn't be spending our money to fix the reflecting pool. Okay, why not? Should he? If he didn't fix it, they'd be like, "Look how Trump has left D.C. in disrepair." There's
it's
no answer.
It's exhausting. It's literally the same. Like I said, they're just Trump bad. No matter what he does, they're going to complain about it. They're going to say, "Oh, this is a problem, and I don't like this." Blah blah blah.
One theory is the algae itself killed the duck.
Well, but that's a more
That's bad for the pro-algae
Trump
lobby.
tried to save the duck.
That's the more plausible explanation. Like when we have these blue algae or green algae blooms in Canada in the summer, if your dog drinks out of the water, the dog will die. Not a
Yeah,
joke.
you can't really
Look at this.
pools that happen.
Ducklings do regularly die of natural causes.
Shocker.
But not just that, the amount of hydrogen peroxide would not have
Oh my God.
lightened the feathers on the bird.
It is unclear if officials are pursuing a necropsy to identify the cause.
People feed baby ducks to snakes, okay, for fun, and they record it. Like, no, I love animals, but this is ridiculous.
Guys,
Animals are in nature all the
hold on. Guys, I'm sorry. I think we're going to pack it in. I realize now upon reading this sentence, it is unclear if officials are pursuing a necropsy to identify the cause of death on a baby duck that died outside. We've won. That's it. We have won the culture war to such an extreme degree, the news has nothing to complain about except questioning whether government officials for the federal government of the United States will perform a necropsy on a duckling that died outside.
I mean, if you weren't in the
We made it.
if you weren't in the trenches when Peanut the squirrel died by the hands of the government, then
But
Yeah, right?
that was, I mean, I was going to say, legitimate
An
outrage
actual
for
cause,
that. This, I mean,
It was also intentional.
yes, it was.
Do you remember, like, you saw last week when Trump had the UFC 250 and the bikers doing the tricks, and it was like, this is idiocracy. And I'm like, the people saying this is idiocracy are the ones walking around saying boys can be girls and are crying over a baby dead duck.
And the
it is
guys-
idiocracy. It's them.
The
Okay,
guys,
guys.
doing tricks was Nitro Circus. Like they're
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Time for level 2. From Trump's Truth Social, he says, here's another example of a crazy pro-algae, likely paid protester. The sign says, first they came for the algae, which is a reference to the famous post-World War II statement about Germans not speaking out against Nazis. And they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out. We get it. And here's an image of Amfifa, and they're wearing a big pink frog costume. Now, I'm going to let you in a secret. This frog costume, Viva, did you know they're air-conditioned?
I did not know that, but I did know if you spray something in the back, a foul odor, it goes into the suit.
Yes.
And it's
So
quite
there's
fun.
a motor on the side. There's a small air compressor, and it inflates the suit, but the air is cool. So I actually I had a friend who worked at a Dairy Queen. No. Was it an Orange Julius? Or no, wait, was it? Yeah, it was an Orange Julius in Chicago. Remember those? They still have those? I don't know. And it was funny because my friend was the manager, and she told the staff someone has to put on the ice cream man suit and go dance outside. This is at the Daily Center in Chicago. I didn't work there. I just hung out because I was like, I was 18 and I was like, it was fun. And I got free ice cream sandwiches. It was fantastic. And they were like, I'm not wearing that suit. You can't make me. And then I was like, whoa, hold on. You get to wear the suit? And the suit was a soft serve ice cream cone man. And it was like with like arms and legs. And I was like, bro, can I wear this suit?
it's
She's
air
like,
conditioned?
yeah. And I think she probably would have gotten in trouble if they found out because I didn't work there. And so I'm just like dancing outside. It's fully air conditioned. And so it's like 90 something degrees out. I feel great. And I'm just throwing free ice cream cards at people. I had a blast. Anyway, the real reason they wear those suits in D.C. is because D.C. is a horrid swamp. And, you'd be sweating your ass off. I'm kidding. They're dressing like that because they're lunatics, but they are funny suits. Now, hold on. Sorry. I just got to show you this because this is the video.
Algae, let's go. Algae, let's go. Algae, let's go. Algae, let's go. Algae,
Mushroom
let's
Dick
go.
Messiah.
Let's go. Algae,
So they think he's the
let's go.
Messiah? I mean, that's pretty flattering.
Let's go. Algae,
what they think.
let's go. Let's go. Algae. God sent the algae.
It's conflicting messaging.
They want to save the algae.
I refuse to believe these people are serious. I believe they are conservatives making fun and like, next level parody. Because
Sorry, bro. They think boys can be girls. Come on.
well, but if you
Concede.
say first they came for the algae and you're making the comparison between that poem, you're basically saying that Jews are a form of pond scum, which is sort of the self-own that you probably don't want to be saying. I do not believe that's a legit progressive. That is a conservative doing like come on, Stein. What's his first? What's that?
Alex Stein?
Alex Stein. This is like Alex
It's
Stein
culture
level.
jamming.
Culture jamming? Is that the word?
Yeah, culture jamming.
Yeah,
So,
I refuse to believe that is a sincere person progressive in there.
Culture jamming is tricks like this. So, for example, do you ever hear of the Yes Men?
Yes, but tell everybody who doesn't know,
No,
Tim.
right. One of the most epic culture jam stunts ever done in the history of this planet was by these guys, the Yes Men. I think they're like liberal lefties. I don't know where they are these days because they've changed. But are you familiar with the Bhopal chemical disaster? Yes, but tell everybody who is it.
I missed my third time.
So Dow Chemical owned a company called Union Carbide. There is, I think it's in India, a small village. There was a chemical spill which just killed and maimed tons of people. It's the Bhopal chemical disaster, and they absolved themselves of responsibility, refused to pay anything out, and said screw off. So what the Yes Men did was they made a fake Dow Chemical website with a fake email address that looked legitimate, and waited for media inquiries. And they got one. I think it was from the BBC. So one of these guys agrees to appear as a representative of Dow Chemical on the BBC, and they're like, wow, the BBC is all excited, like, on the anniversary of the Bhopal disaster, we're going to get a representative to speak out. And he publicly announces on the air that they are accepting full responsibility for the disaster, will be liquidating Union Carbide to pay all of the families that were negatively impacted. Immediately, Dow stock collapses because all the investors are like, oh no, they're accepting responsibility for their disaster. And then once Dow immediately issued a response saying, this is fake, we take no responsibility, the stock skyrocketed.
The only reason I'm morally against that is because you gave the victims false hope that they would actually be compensated. So it's sort of at the expense of the victims. Otherwise, that's damn genius.
To be fair, that was a big critique, but the victims all celebrated it because, I mean, let's be real, like, of course they were happy that someone went on TV and besmirched Dow Chemical over all this stuff. But that's culture jamming. Okay. So when Alex Stein goes to a public, did you see the one he went to in Tampa? And he was like, lesbians aren't real and your mayor's not a real lesbian. And it got like 1 million views. It's culture jamming. To a certain extent, though, people now know who Alex Stein is. But if conservatives were pulling this off, I suppose the issue is it's harder to call it culture jamming these days because we're in a culture war. Right? So culture jamming makes sense when it's almost everybody at the time when the S-Men did this loved what they did. It was the major companies that were upset they did it, but the people were all laughing, left and right. They thought it was hilarious. Now though, it's half the country versus half the country, so it's a culture war psyop, I guess.
I think it's a psyop. Yeah, that's probably a good way to describe it.
Well, because when you're at war, psychological operations are psychological operations.
Well, also the false flag, humiliating things like that is everybody would agree that's humiliating for anybody who would call themselves progressive if it's a bona fide progressive.
Viva, I feel like you're forgetting who progressives are.
Well, they do think
you have amnesia.
That women can have she-nesses, as we say, and as Justin Trudeau once called it. What did he call it? A she-session and a she-covery. Because he's shitarded, is what he is.
So, under normal circumstances, if we weren't dealing with whatever these leftists are, I would agree with you, like, no one's that stupid. FIFA. First, they came for the algae. It does seem like parody, but here's the thing. I hearken back to Dennis Prager on Real Time with Bill Maher when he said they're putting tampons in the men's room, and everyone laughed at Prager, and Bill Maher said, oh, that's for their girlfriends. Stop. Bill Maher could not believe that liberals would go so far because he wasn't paying attention. So here we see this. I'm like, nah, at this point, we're going to do a sort of pose law. Unless you explicitly state this is meant to be a joke, it's real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Angelina Belcamino got me for the longest. Yeah. She got me for the longest time on X. Like every time she would post something, I would rage response. I was like, oh shit, she got me for like a good year.
I can't believe that people fell for her. Like she would post like all her videos was her strutting past the camera, being like, I'm a strong single lib.
I know people who do that seriously.
But when I first saw her do it, I thought it was funny either way. Like even if she was actually a liberal, being like, I'm going to antagonize conservatives by doing this, I was like, I get it. It's a bit, you know?
I thought that she would, like, for a little while, she was somewhat she was always trolling and she was always, looking for a reaction. But I thought, like, when she first started, she actually kind of had left-ish. Well,
she still does.
Left-ish. But
she's just like most of the moderates that are like, the left has gone nuts.
Yeah, okay. Well.
So she was doing these funny trolling things. What I love is X is it's social media in general. It does make me sympathize with Democrats. I sympathize. Like Gavin Newsom right now is being accused of this pay for play scam.
Yep.
And it's almost like the accusation is the same thing as the Clintons. You set up the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, and then the Saudis can donate to your nonprofit, and then your husband, who's the president, just somehow approves of all of their. We get it. So that's what he's accused of doing. And I look at that stuff, and I'm like, man, look how evil these people are, taking kickbacks and manipulating everybody. But then you look at who these leftists are and like, do you blame them? You know what I mean? Like if someone came to you and said, would you like to try and reason with these leftists, or would you just like to corral them like sheep with a sheepdog? It's like, to be honest, we've tried communicating with these people. They're inconsolable.
Open the insane asylums, put them all in.
Like this is what I'm saying. Like maybe we owe Adam Schiff an apology because he's the hero that we need, not the one we deserve. And I'm kidding, by the way. But my joke is that he's intentionally sheepdogging the retards to keep them away from everybody else.
The retard.
It's a joke because I think he's just one of these people who's corrupt. But when I say like, don't you sympathize with Democrats? Like, how do we? This person votes, right? So what would you do? What would you do in a democratic constitutional republic where you are saying that we must inform the people so that they may make the right decisions? And this guy walks in a frog costume and says, I don't want you to kill the toxic algae in the reflecting pool.
Well, there's an interesting argument there. Like, when someone overpays for something, they say, well, how dare you gouge me? I'm like, well, how dare you be dumb enough to overpay for something?
Bro.
If I could figure out a way to like trick squirrels into cleaning my gutters, I guess I would do it. If you view humans the way some of these politicians view humans, like these people are so dumb, I can get clout off of them, I can get money off of them, and I am not my brother's keeper. If you walk through the world like that, I can understand how the Adam Schiffs of the world and the Gavin Newsoms will willingly and knowingly exploit idiots for their own benefit, but they cloak it in benevolence and they cloak it in political righteousness.
And here's the challenge. I feel that it would be communism to try and protect stupid people from their own decisions. Well, so like, but no, I mean it. Like, imagine there's a guy. So I once went to a mall. I went to a mall with my brother, and they were selling balance bracelets. You ever see one of those?
No, but I love how you said, I once went to a mall. It was a very foreign experience for me. Okay.
One time I went, never again.
They are
so
bad places.
You don't remember balance bracelets? You remember them, right?
I do, yeah.
How do you not know this? It was like they were trying to get every well, because you were a rollerblader, that's why.
Is it the magnet thing? Two magnets?
It's a rubber band. It was a silicone bracelet, and it had a Mylar sticker on it. And they claimed that it was negatively charged ions, which would improve your balance. And I, not being retarded, said, that is impossible and you are lying. But what these guys would do is a magic trick called the center of gravity illusion. It's a very standard magic trick, usually used as it's used as a setup for magic trick. So what you do is, and just by listening, maybe you guys can figure it out. Don't try this at home. It's dangerous. I'm half kidding. So you'll have someone stand up, put their arms out, and then lift one leg. What you'll then do is when their arms are out, you put your hand on the arm and move slightly at a downward angle away from their center of gravity. What will happen?
They'll fall to the leg that's up.
They will fall over. What you then do is you take your mystical item. You say, now, I'm going to prove to you that this pen cap bears magic powers. And you don't do a pen cap, you'll have like the amulet of camouflage or something, and then they'll put it in their hand. Then you have them put their arms out. But this time when you push down, you go slightly toward the center of gravity. They will not fall over at all because you're pushing into the center of gravity. In fact, you can push down really hard. But the person who's experiencing the illusion doesn't understand the difference. They're not thinking about this. And so magicians can set up that my wand is magic. I'll prove it. Balanso, and then do this illusion. So they were putting the wristband on people and then doing the center of gravity illusion to prove it increased their balance. NBA players had them. Just professional athletes across the board were endorsed by these companies. The FTC shut them down, fined them. There's tens of millions of dollars because it's clearly fraud. But people believe this stuff. And so my issue is this. Should the government tell people they can't lie when they sell these products in this way? What if there's a hippie who genuinely believes crystals will cure, your negative emotions? Now, here's my problem with it. I walked to the guy and I said, you're a liar. This is an illusion. I'll prove it. And then I showed this one guy, I take the bracelet off and did the same thing. And he was like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, they're lying to you. The guy got really pissed, started screaming at me. It was fun. It was in Newport News, Virginia when this happened. So here's the challenge. Let's say you actually have a medication that doctors around the world use that is considered a miracle drug that's, cures blindness or something from a parasite, just hypothetically. And then doctors are like, I would like to prescribe this. Then the federal government says, no, to protect the public from liars, we will not allow you to prescribe this medication. But what if the medication actually works? That's the challenge we have when it comes to, should the government tell people they cannot make claims? Now, I understand it's like you can't make knowingly false claims, but that doesn't matter. Because if there's a doctor who genuinely believes that a treatment will work, but the government says it won't, they will just accuse him of knowing that it won't because they told him. So therein lies the challenge. Should we say you can't sell products that are doofy and goofy and trick people, but then we run into the issue where sometimes legitimate products get banned? Or should we just say caveat emptor?
The government would say you need to go through rigorous testing. It needs to go through the FDA and all these other government organizations to get your approval to make it to make the claim that it's some type of life, saving treatment.
It also depends on, if you got a substance that cures a disease or whatever in 60% of the population, but 40% of the 40% of the time it doesn't work. Can you say, oh, it doesn't work, or it only works a certain amount of the time?
I'm just saying this. What about when the salesman is right and the government is withholding, lying, or acting in fraud? Do we want to tell the government you can bar people from selling something, or do we want to just say let the buyer beware?
No, I think buyer beware is probably.
In that case, you'll get snake oil salesmen and fraud. And the issue ultimately is that this is what politics is. And I don't think that any of us would advocate for the government shutting down the Democratic Party and having that absolute control, because that will just result in homogenization. We don't like the Democrats lie and manipulate people for power and use weird mail-in voting things. So the solution there is to have standardized and secure voting systems, or a system by which you must know who you're voting for. If we say, no, we're going to ban Democrats because they're liars, then you are just opening the door to people in power having the right to ban whatever you do.
Well, I mean, the deliberate fraudulent misrepresentations, I think, is a threshold everybody can agree with. The borderline, or if they make you put on a statement that says this hasn't been tested or this has not been recognized by the government to treat whatever, that already exists. But in under Quebec law, we have a concept called bon dol, which is good fraud, which is like a car salesman saying this is the best car on earth, and nobody's going to believe it's the best car on earth. It's just sort of legitimate expected exaggeration.
That's your government's trash.
No, well, I mean, I'm not going to defend the Canadian and Quebec government. It's good fraud. No, it's exagerations that nobody takes literally.
It's not even necessarily fraud. It's like when a TV show commercial says it's like the most explosive night of TV ever. It's the the biggest episode of all time.
Yeah, but
what does that even mean?
Yeah, but saying this is the best car on the planet means something.
I mean, by what metric? If it's an innocuous claim at
it's
best.
The best car for you. You're going to love.
Like it doesn't mean anything.
I just had the best.
I would argue that this is the challenge in language and what determines whether something is deceptive and fraudulent. It's the best car is an opinion statement. The reason why it's legal in the United States to say that is because it's the salesman's personal opinion. And how do you quantify what the best car possibly is? He didn't say it was the fastest, because that would be a lie.
Yeah. Or it has the best gas mileage, and then they have to say like of this model of this, and this. It's
I love when they're like, it has the best gas mileage of the 2026 fleet of SUVs.
Yes, like
it's still not bad, but
I had a great idea. If Trump really wants to make the brains of these progressives over the pond melt down, he should bottle and sell the algae water for the 250th and make it an unsealable bottle so that nobody can break it open and drink it.
I'd buy it.
I swear to you, I would buy it. I would buy
put it on the
Washington Pond scum. We're draining the swamp. Own your piece today.
It was funny because I was at a poker table, as one does, and it was with a bunch of libs. And it's a mixed bag usually, but the libs were like, we were talking somewhat about how stupid people will buy merch for politicians, and then someone was like, and there are people stupid enough to spend $500 on golden sneakers, and I went, I bought 2 pairs. I got one right there. I will say this too, because it's kind of sad. When I was talking about it, I was like, because while they were we were ribbing on each other. It wasn't like in mean spirits. It was like, how could you buy that? And I said, well, one of the pairs of shoes we brought to AmFest and had the cast of Timcast IRL sign it, and Charlie Kirk signed it, and then we tossed it out to the crowd, and someone has that shoe somewhere, and it's autographed by Charlie Kirk, and then they all kind of just shut up.
I say my only problem.
I'm not going to insult that now.
My problem with you having gotten the $500 ones is those weren't available by the time I went to get them, so I had to settle for I got 2 of the. Were they $250? There was the tier down. I got red ones and white ones.
Like some kind of poor person.
Yeah, and I actually I wore one of them once. The other one's still in a box intact. No, but people want to own a piece of history.
I wore them, I think, one time and skated in them. And intentionally did like 2 tricks to scuff them, and then took them off and put them up, and now they are skate scuffed. Trump golden shoes.
Worn by Tim Pool. That'll be worth big money.
They're not meant to be worn. I can tell you that.
What was the trick that you did to
I
scuff
did a
it?
nollie hard flip. It's on my Instagram.
There you go.
And that, like, for those that don't know skateboarding, a flat ground nollie hard flip is considered like a pretty good trick. So in the golden Trump shoes. So they are the nollie hard flip golden Trump shoes.
I would rather think, honestly, that there is a guy out there who just really likes algae, and he was like, "This is his Super Bowl," and he just finally has a reason.
Now's my time.
Yeah, like
Now's
he's been
my
waiting for this.
time.
That's what I was hoping for. Like more, like there's just a nutty guy out there who just really likes algae. I was looking it up. There are like pro algae groups, but it's usually tied to like industrial.
Oh my God.
Stuff like that.
I just got the craziest and best idea. We need to ask for a sample of the algae to breed it because this is Trump's algae. And all you need is the tiniest bit, the strain we'd call it. And then you can create an algae farm that there's all descendants of Trump's algae.
Yeah.
And then you can do like whatever I don't know.
Hemingway's cats.
So,
But like what products they do like algae drinks or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I think this might kill you, so I wouldn't recommend
At
it.
what
Yeah,
point
you've never
would
had
he-
the green algae beverage?
Well, no, they.
Oh, you've never had that?
No.
You have this look on your face, not realizing that you can go to any health store and they have green bottles of algae.
Green algae beverage.
Yes.
At what point when Trump leaves office does it become the algae of like the next administration? Like that's the other thing about this is like when you think about it, it's not like Trump is out there writing the like the standard operating procedure for what to do with the reflecting pool. It's just something that happens under his administration, which just makes it even worse.
It's a joke that it's news. It's a joke that they had to AI Photoshop images to make it look like they were painting the basin blue like an Olympic swimming pool. And then when that turns out not to be true, then it becomes an algae issue.
wait.
And there's always
You
been
can
an
get
algae.
powder.
We have them. We have the algae drinks here.
Oh, really?
They were in the fridge a few months ago and everyone drank them.
Blue-green algae
Oh,
powder.
people
No,
actually.
yeah. We had the blue-green algae lemonade.
Is that ocean algae, saltwater algae, or freshwater?
Spirulina.
How do the algae
Spirulina.
groups feel about people
Spirulina.
drinking algae water? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It depends. Does Donald Trump recommend it? Does Donald Trump like them? If Donald Trump recommends them and
Truth
like them,
algae
they're bad.
drink,
They'll
yeah,
kill you. Yeah. Yeah. If they're not recommended by Donald Trump, if Donald Trump said don't drink them, then drink them. They're the best thing in the world, and you'll be fighting fascism by drinking them. If it's so ridiculous.
I'm tired.
Everything about this is just so stupid.
So tired.
You've never like gone to a place and like they put green algae in the drink for you?
Not that I can think of.
I've done the seaweed, but not algae that I know of, because I was always brought up that you're not supposed to drink green algae or algae-infested
Yeah,
water.
I kind of thought the same thing. But I mean, look, if it's like a powdered thing, and there's like, no, these are the good algae. Just like you're not supposed to eat mushrooms that are just out in the woods, but there are certain mushrooms that are alleged to expand your mind, bro, and make you be able to control the weather.
I'm reluctant to suggest this.
Yeah, here's like I just pulled up this random. I'm telling you, it's like all these hippie things. Like here you go. Look at this. Wild algae blend, nature's nutrients for whole body health.
Whole body.
Whole body. And
Bones
it says like
included.
scoopable storage. We're not sponsored by this company by the way, but they sell algae. I don't know if like the pond scum algae you can eat. I'm just saying Trump brand algae, you know what I'm saying? Like,
feel like-
that's a premium brand right there.
If you're gonna sell algae, why wouldn't you call it pond scum? I feel like that's the best name you can.
Hey, look, man, hippies do weird things.
Yeah, I know.
I'm predicting it now, and I think it's actually going to happen. They're going to throw dead animals in, claim they died. I also suspect they're going to maybe start thinking of sabotaging, put it in quotes, by like dumping goldfish in the pond by the bag, and then you can't get them out. Then they die. Then they stink. In Montreal, you guys, we had.
I
This
hope
thing
you
called-
didn't just give someone an idea.
The scoundrels don't need ideas. They're good. That article about the dead duck was the dog whistle for them to throw dead animals in and claim that they died by the pond. But back in Montreal, we have this thing
Worst.
called Beaver
We're gonna
Lake.
find a pig.
Oh, no, the pigs. We have a pond that's called Beaver Lake, and people dump their goldfish in, turtles. And one summer it got too hot, and all the fish died. And there were like tens of thousands of dead goldfish, and the seagulls were picking them up, eating them. They got diarrhea from it, so they were dumping all over the place. And I mean, it was nature's sabotage of Beaver Lake, and it was a grotesque disaster.
I was.
You guys know about the swimming pigs in the Caribbean?
No.
I do know of that. I legit know of because
Yeah,
my
it's-
daughter keeps showing me these TikTok videos of these people that get on the backs of the pigs and they go in the ocean with them, and she wants to.
Well, I don't know if you get on their backs, but so basically, like I think it was the Spanish settlers brought pigs, and then they were like farming them on the island. But when they left the pigs behind. So the pigs started swimming around, and now there's swimming pigs in this island. It's like a tourist attraction, and you get on a boat and you go out, and the pigs are swimming around you, and you give them food.
They're vicious.
That would be funny if the reflecting pool is just full of swimming pigs. It's just not deep enough, but if the pigs were small, like little pot-bellied pigs swimming around, just
Yeah.
be, you know.
I was there
Pooping.
I was just there this past weekend. I was there on Sunday, and there's a ton of like not just police and U.S. Marshals, and there's also the National Guard. Just
Yeah, there's
moseying
I think,
around.
what is it, like it's like Ohio State Troop or something like that?
Probably. I don't know.
Some weird.
Like I said,
You
there
think
was,
they- police
Running
came in?
towards it with like your hand in your shirt, and they shoot you because they think you have a gun, but it's just a bunch of goldfish in a
did.
bag.
Or it's like a de-algification powder.
They're like, well, I mean, it looked like terrorism, right? You're just dumping chemicals into like a place by a national monument.
We got to jump to this next story because here you go. Trump's newest obsession seems to be over the number 22, but nobody knows what it means. I really want to bash my face on this table over and over again. You know, I feel like for a regular person, you can look at this headline and get filled with rage because you're like, what the is wrong with these people? The thing is, for those of us that are in politics and have lived in politics for our whole lives, this is how every single article has always been. When they're like, Donald Trump overfed the fish in the koi pond with Shinzo Abe.
That was great.
Those of us in politics are like, he did, like, we know you're lying and insane. But for regular people, I feel like this is finally an open window where you're going to say to regular people, Brendan Raschius of The Independent is a retard. And I shouldn't say like that. I guess a little mean. I should say he's developmentally disabled. And I mean that in an endearing way. Like, this person needs to be taken off the computer or quit his job.
like Corky.
What they did was they referenced several times Trump used the number 22. That's it. And they said, Trump has claimed the U.S. military destroyed 22 Iranian ships, said he proved 22 Nobel Prize economists wrong, and he reported, meeting with 22 medical specialists. So you see what they did there. They found 3 instances where Trump used a single number and then wrote a conspiracy theory that Trump is obsessed with the number. I bet if you go through every single speech Trump has ever had, you can find him saying at least 3 times 73, 42, 69 perhaps.
Just hope it's not.
And you could write whatever. So this is the problem. These people are genuinely mentally unwell or developmentally disabled. They have been stunted in their brain development. And this guy's going, Donald Trump said 22 3 times. Whoa, that proves it. And you're like, yes, I have said all of these numbers multiple times. You know, especially considering it's the 22nd of June, I'm just going to go ahead and say these people are psychotic.
Yeah.
What was the movie with Jim Carrey? The number 23.
23.
Yeah.
Yeah, close enough. But
Tim,
same concept.
I just sent you a text if you can bring it up. Go to the ADL's website. If you guys didn't know that the ADL has hate on display and they attribute hate symbols to symbols, words, and numbers. And pretty much every number from 1 to 99 is there. And 22
Yes.
is there. Firm 22 is a hate symbol. So I'm surprised that nobody's accusing Trump of...
This is a social club.
It's 22.
Wait. The funny thing about their hate symbols is because, yes, they literally have like every single number. Every number.
They have 18, which is like a lucky number in Judaism. They have it on. You have to see the numbers. It's
So
crazy.
here, 100% is racist, 109, 110 is racist, 1 to 11 is racist, 12 is racist, 13 is racist, 1352 and 1390 is racist, 14 is racist, 14 words, we know what that means, 1423, 1488, 18, 211, 21, 212, 23, 16, 271,000.
Wait, why is 271,000?
Holocaust deniers. 28 is racist. 311? No! They're one of my favorite bands.
Man.
Are you kidding me?
Drag.
311 is racist because
It's 11 is K is the third letter of the alphabet.
9/11 better be on here too.
Yeah.
9/11's not.
Can you go to 18 and just? I'm curious as to why 18 is verboten.
Just make something up. It's fine.
Combat 18 is a white supremacist alphanumeric code for Adolf Hitler. 1 equals A and 8 equals H.
They're playing like they are playing the palm reader crap with numbers. 18. So now the entire
18.
Jewish community out there can no longer use 18
Bro.
l'chaim. You guys are displaying hate.
38, 43, 5 words. I'm going to ignore phrases. I'll just go for numbers. 511-737-8388, 9%. Wait, ACAB.
That's out of place.
Yeah, why is the ADL mad about all
Skinheads.
cops?
Skinheads.
Skinheads. That proves it.
A Kia.
Standing in the social.
Oh, okay. All right. So those were all the numbers.
But it's pure delusional insanity. And
Look, you have to cast a wide net when you're looking for the kind of money that the ADL is looking, because they've got a lot of Nazis to pay. Or was it the SPLC?
that was the SPLC. But I would not be. I mean, I've said that the ADL does more to foment hatred than to combat it. But
I'm sure the ADL is in cahoots with the SPLC. I'm sure that they've
Racist hand signs.
Is the OK hand sign still on?
23
Yes.
is racist. Holding up a 2 and a 3 is racist. Okay. 8-8 is racist.
doing hearts are racist.
Is this racist? I want the horns. I want
Devil horns. You'll find it. The Aryan circle, bending your index finger, pointing your 2 fingers together. Oh, okay.
Supposed to make the gesture for.
Oh, wait. Look, it's the hammer skin hand sign is when you cross your arms.
Ooh.
So I call that the Dragon Ball energy attack deflection is racist. So when Goku is blocking energy attacks, he's
Wonder
actually
Woman's
doing a white
racist.
supremacy hand gesture.
The clanging together of her wristbands. Wonder Woman's racist.
Let's see.
is weird.
The
Just
OK hand gesture, which is fabricated, was made up by 4chan, of course.
Yeah.
Let's see. Peckerwood.
But by the way, do you know what their argument was for how it became a hate symbol after they had to recognize they got duped by the 4chan scam?
That it was an attempt to dupe.
That it got co-opted after they duped them. So now that they got duped like the idiots that they are, and people started doing it as a joke and co-opting it, then it became retroactive.
It was because Trump would always do the thing with his fingers.
AOC and Obama are the amount of pictures you get, and every basketball player when they get a 3-pointer.
Well, of course, they do the 3 sign. But Trump, when he would talk, he would put his fingers together and go like this. He would be like, listen, blah, blah, blah. And so then people started doing the OK hand sign because Trump did it. And then 4chan decided they should make it a white power symbol. But I will just say on this, I hope you guys just remember the Trump playing the accordion videos. Remember those?
Those were classic.
Classic videos. We got to show our Gen Z friends who weren't around.
Well, hold on, before you do that, you just got to. Is this still up here? Are we missing something? Submit your hate symbol. That's like invite people to create more hate.
On Wikipedia, it says this list is not exhaustive. Please help by expanding it. And it like the famous meme was list of serial killers. And it was like, please help by expanding the list. Yeah, and people are like,
Bad
really?
verbiage. It's very bad verbiage.
Yeah. But for those that don't know, we've had a lot of Gen Z people come on, and it's pretty fascinating. They'll be like, 24, right? So when Trump came down the escalator, they were 14, not at all paying attention to politics. So when we got the epic Trump playing the accordion video, they have no idea what it is. They've never seen it before, and that breaks my heart.
It was a work of art.
I'm gonna find it. Let me see if I can find it.
It shouldn't be too hard.
No, but it goes to show you, like, the aggregate memory of the internet is about 7 years. A new generation comes in, has not seen the old stuff. Another generation dies off, and so
I don't think you can actually even pull it up on X anymore.
you have to put in the right key. But there's a
YouTube
number
probably.
of variations as well of Trump doing the things with the hands.
Yeah, I mean, that means you have to keep recycling. Like you have to bring back Nyan Cat and everything, so the kids are
Nyan Cat.
aware. Nyan Cat.
Yeah. Nyan. Yeah.
Now,
All right, here you go, everybody.
I know what that is, but for
Here you
those
go.
who don't.
I'll be honest. I think if he did have something, they would have released it. They would have been glad to release it. I don't want to take advantage of something. I have something that others don't have. I don't like the way that looks, but I would be able to do that if I wanted to. I'd be the only one that would be able to do that if we wanted to.
So the people who are just listening don't know. Donald Trump talks by moving his hands. He opens and closes his hands while he talks. So they added an accordion, and they've made a ton of these, and they were hilarious. And it shows you the difference between left and the right, because the right, who liked Trump, also thought this was hilarious, and the left thought they were owning Trump, but everybody just thought it was funny.
I wonder if the person that made it was would consider themselves on the left or the right.
Which one? There was a meme where it was a guy on the left who made it, and the right loved it so much he had to apologize for the fact. What was that?
I don't remember.
Is the Pepe one?
I don't think it was
Oh,
Pepe.
no.
It was a meme, and everybody on the right loved it even more than the left. And then it was almost like he had to apologize to the people on the left because they were coming after him, that they gave this
The
ammunition.
creator of Pepe did claim that he was killing off Pepe, and everyone's like, "Shut up!"
Yeah, that didn't
matter anyway. But I remember vaguely what you're referring to, where he made a meme and then it went viral among the right, and he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
What was
Remember the cartoonist, the comic book guy who made one about how his bike got stolen? And then he said, "But I like to imagine the guy who stole my bike wanted it more than I did.
Yeah.
So overall, the happiness in the world went up, and everyone just started attacking him and calling him a
deserved
cuck.
it? He deserved it.
And then people started making a bunch of meme versions of it where it was like, my girlfriend, I watched my girlfriend get banged by a bull.
Yeah.
I like to imagine he wanted her more than I did. And it just started ripping into the guy.
Clearly.
Those were the good old days. What's
Back
going
in
on
the meme
now?
war.
Huh? Where's our meme culture?
Well, I think that part of the reason why the memes aren't flowing now is because of the fact that there's not a presidential election. Nobody's going to get all excited about making memes for the midterms. They just aren't going to have the same kind of traction that a presidential one would.
There's that. I think there's, unfortunately, there was unity during the meme war back in the day. I think it's tough to have a meme war where you have a unified conservative versus Democrat when there's a lot of infighting on the right.
Yeah, but I think that's more because of the fact that we're off cycle right now, right? Because I was listening to John Doyle talk about this today. Like everybody kind of coalesced around Donald Trump when he was running. People on the right were just like, these tertiary topics or these other topics, they're not super important to us. We really need to go ahead and support the guy that's going to actually be the nominee for the Republicans. And we have to make sure that Joe Biden or Kamala Harris are beat, right? And I think that's something that you likely will see as we get close, once the midterms are over and the actual race for 2028 gets underway, you'll see a lot of the tertiary stuff going away. I think that there is going to be a vocal but small group of people, speaking of Tucker Carlson, that won't want to vote for the Republicans. I think the Israel topic is a little bit sticky, and there are going to be people that are going to be, I won't vote for a Republican because they're going to support Israel because they don't have the right policy takes on Israel. But I think that the numbers of people that are going to be specifically with this particular new party, if it does actually materialize, they're going to be about the size of the Libertarian Party, 3 to 5%. But I think overall, people are going to look at whatever option the Democrats have, whether it be Gavin Newsom or AOC or who have you, and whoever is the people that are running on the Republican side, and they're going to say, all right, these people are clearly better than going back to the days of the left kind of running the show.
Let's jump to this next story, ladies and gentlemen. We have the team up of the century. I never would have seen this coming, that Tucker Carlson and Joy Reid, the meme where it's like the white guy and the black guy and they're putting their arms together? Tucker Carlson says he's abandoning the GOP over Israel, and Joy Reid says she's abandoning the Democrats over Israel. So not that they agree on, I'm just saying, like, they're both taking a similar stance of saying the main principal party of our side is bad because they have sided with Israel. So here's Tucker first.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of its own citizens? That's it's not possible to vote for people like that, and I'm not going to. And I think I voted Republican my entire life. I worked at Fox News, CNN, right, MSNBC. I've been a consistent defender for 35 years of the Republican Party. I mean, very consistent defender. But there's no defending this because it's immoral, and it's exactly the opposite of what a political party in a democracy is charged with doing, which is.
And then we have Joy Reid. Joy Reid ditches voting for Democrats unless the party completely abandons Israel. So we've got the now, I know you can stomach at least somewhat listening to Tucker. This won't be tough for you guys, but we'll do it.
But for me, the problem is not so much her, it's the party. The Democratic Party is as married to this Israel over everything, Israel no matter what they do, no matter how many people they kill. The Democrats were as married to that as the Republicans. And so it would take a really strong Democrat. It would take a Mamdani-style event to get a Democrat to say that they weren't getting down with that. But to me, I, going forward, cannot vote for a Democrat who does not pledge to end this relationship. This relationship needs to end. There's a nuclear armed expansionist power.
Okay, so are we gonna play prediction market odds on when Tucker and Joy Reid do a show together, laugh, smile, and just bash Israel the whole time and completely agree?
I give it by the end of July.
And now I will also add, having said that, there will be a reaction from anti-Israel people who are going to take what I said as some kind of negative, despite the fact nothing about it was negative, just to point out that Tucker and Joy would do a show together bashing Israel. See, the thing is, how you react to that statement really says a lot about what you actually think, which is kind of my point on the whole Israel, anti-Israel stuff, that the moment you bring it up, it has to be an explicit condemnation and praise of those attacking it. Otherwise, the subject matter itself is presumed negative, which means you have a cognitive bias and dissonance on the issue of Israel. That's clear to everybody. I have no problem with people criticizing Israel. I have no problem with someone saying, I won't vote for a party, like Tucker and Joy Reid said. But question yourself if you had a visceral negative reaction to how I described it.
But I have two things to say. I don't think Tucker, to say I'm not going to support the Republican Party, presumes that the next candidate is going to be as pro-Israel as what seems to be the current state of the administration. If J.D. Vance is the candidate, whether or not he's supporting the GOP, he's going to support J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance has a more realistic and more pragmatic perspective on what the relationship with Israel should be. When it comes to Joy Reid, it's just the intellectual dishonesty and inconsistency. She's a vocal supporter of Ukraine. Like, send as much tax dollars over to Ukraine as you want, but when it's Israel, then it's not, it's not acceptable anymore. Which can allow you to question her motives as to why she'll support $300 billion to one country but not to another.
Audience capture.
Yeah, yes. And now, if she wanted to be consistent, where I understand people's criticism of the relationship with Israel, the U.S.'s relationship with Israel, because they look at it the same way they looked at the relationship with Ukraine. It's nice to say it's an ally. At some point, you say the allies have to fight their own wars. We're not putting our own troops on the soil in Ukraine, in Israel. We're not going to impoverish America to continue to support to the tunes of hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't care if the money comes back in terms of you give aid to Israel, they buy arms here. I understand people's criticism when they apply it rationally and equally to both of these conflicts. Joy Reid is a hypocrite, and Tucker Carlson, I think, would support a candidate and not necessarily a party, and I think he's expressing legit criticism.
Let me correct you there. Joy Reid is a hypocrite, and Tucker Carlson is a hypocrite. Continue.
Tucker, I don't know that I think
Tucker knew full well that Sheldon Adelson and Miriam Adelson were big-time supporters of Donald Trump to help him get elected in his first term, his second attempt, and then when Sheldon died, Miriam Adelson. And when Tucker was apologizing for having backed Donald Trump, his brother literally said to him, maybe the money from Miriam Adelson meant something. And he goes, because Tucker knew the whole time what he was supporting. Now, if Tucker were to come out and say, I should never have backed Israel, and explicitly state, I knew they were doing it and I didn't know, I'd take that back. For the time being, he's pretending like he did not know. He literally said, I'm sorry for supporting him. I didn't know. Bro, that is hypocrisy and a lie, because dude knew exactly what Miriam Adelson meant.
Okay, people apologizing for what they did at the time, knowingly that they meant to do, it's not even an apology. It's totally insincere. Like when people say, Viva, apologize for a joke you made or a statement you made, it's like, I'm not apologizing for something I did on purpose that I meant and that I didn't think was wrong at the time.
And still don't?
Well, that's the question. When he says, look, now I regret having supported Trump, maybe it's retroactively because he's like, yeah, I knew Adelsons were given.
No, he explicitly said, I did not know he was going to do this.
Yeah, well,
that's a lie.
I don't know if that's a lie. I think a lot of people did not think that thought.
And then his brother said maybe Miriam Adelson's money was for something, and then he laughed because it was explicitly reported that Miriam Adelson offered between $100 and $150 million in super PAC support to Trump if he backed Israel, specifically because she wants the West Bank annexed. If you want to tell me that Tucker Carlson's so bad at his job, he did not know this story that everybody knew and was a major point of contention, by all means, fine, I accept that. Maybe Tucker's just doesn't read the news. But the reality is, I think any rational person could know that Tucker Carlson knew full well he was backing Trump and backing Israel, and he's only saying this now because he's attracting a large foreign audience, which he's bragging about.
That's possible. I think there's a legit argument to be made if you give someone the benefit of the doubt. Everybody knew of the amount of Adelson's contributions. I think people were optimistic based on the campaign of 2024 that despite that, it would be an administration for the people, the populist class, and not for the donor class. And then it took a turn at some point into the administration, not starting off with.
Trump got elected by the donor class.
He got elected by the voting class. He definitely got contributions from the donor class.
Right,
but
sure.
then the attention shifted. The attention, I don't think anyone will look at the first 3 months of the presidency and say that he was placating the donor class. I think pardoning the Jan Sixers was
Ross Ulbricht, that was
Ross
upholding his
Ulbricht, which was
promises.
pissing off the donor class. Something happened, or there was a shift in the tide at some point, and maybe they said, maybe the pressure became more overt.
I don't think the conservative donor class cared about the J6 pardons. I think they're just like, sure, I don't know, whatever.
Wouldn't the donor class be more upset about the Doge stuff because of all the connections between private business and government?
Might be why Doge was shut down and they didn't really do much with it.
Trump, it's USAID. And do you see the memes that are going around since USAID's closure? All the right-wing parties are winning in South America. Yeah, this is what USAID did. It funded activism. Really, it was about overthrowing and manipulating governments across the world and things like this. Trump getting rid of that was absolutely fantastic, but Trump was targeting different donors. And now the interesting thing, especially with Trump 24, the Democrats were in trouble because they embraced the anti-Israel progressives. So major billionaire donors, Bill Ackman's a good example, were like, I'm not going to be a part of a Democratic Party that hates Israel. So they went to Trump. Trump is pro-Israel, always has been, and that was the name of the game. Everyone knew this. I knew this. Ben Shapiro knew this. Tucker Carlson knew this. And if Tucker came out and said, I have evolved on the issue of Israel, I have learned what they do and how they do it, and I was ignorant and blind, and I made a mistake in backing this, I shouldn't have done it, I'd say that's not hypocrisy, that's honesty.
That makes
But when he says, I did not know, I apologize, that's him going, hey, I got a bigger audience over here. It's the off season in American politics. Views are way down, so I need a new audience to maintain viewership and make money.
It also makes sense because he said he's worked in news his whole life. He's voted Republican his whole life, and even somebody who only kind of tangentially pays attention to politics understands how connected Israel is with the U.S. government and with our parties.
I don't believe the sincerity of high-profile individuals who, in the span of a couple of months, just all of a sudden inverted their political positions.
Every day,
I just don't believe it.
Every day is basically a slow news day, and they're looking to keep their numbers up, I think. Honestly, that's a good portion of it.
And so I imagine Tucker knew that by coming out against the Republican Party, he was going to be a worldwide trend. When I jokingly said I was endorsing RFK Jr., the media ran the story like crazy because they wanted to write Tim Pool ditches Trump. But the real reason I wrote I'm endorsing RFK Jr. was because I was in an argument with prominent Trump diehards attacking Joe Rogan, and I said, stop for two reasons. One, Joe's a good dude, and you need to like just back off. He's a good guy. You're lying about him. But more importantly, if you want to win, you need Joe on your side. They attacked him, and I was like, if you want the moderates to leave, keep going after Joe Rogan because he's been right about all this stuff. And then they said something like, F you, we don't need you. And I said, okay, fine. I hereby endorse RFK Jr. for president. It was very obvious to anybody following the thread, I was not really endorsing him. I was threatening to, I'll vote for a moderate. And then all these media outlets were like, Tim Pool formally endorsed. RFK Jr. tweeted, thank you, Tim, for your support. I won't let you down. And I'm like, oh, crap.
No, I think he was playing into you as well.
No, he genuinely didn't know.
How do you know that he genuinely didn't know?
Because I said, hey, I was just kidding. And then he responded with something like, well, we're always eager to get your support. Like, they genuinely thought my post. The media reported Tim Pool endorsed RFK Jr. They probably saw that. They didn't follow the thread, and they said, oh, wow, thank you, Tim.
When it comes to Tucker, I don't immediately go to ill intent or pleasing an audience, or I don't know who his sponsors are. I mean, I know people say he's Qatari paid, and I haven't seen any evidence of that. He's got some of the same sponsors.
We have the same sponsors.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I don't think that audience capture dictates that. It might be more of a self-defense, protecting his ego type reflection. I don't want to admit that I got duped, so I got to pretend that I got fooled type thing. Like, I wasn't wrong.
You got to fish
I
where
was
the fish
fooled.
are. Yes, but that would make sense if he said, I was wrong about Israel for 30 years. Instead, he said, he said, I apologize had I known. And then his brother literally points out they both knew the whole time. That's the hypocrisy. I'm sorry, I'm not defending Tucker Carlson over this. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to defend Joy Reid. These people are all hypocrites and liars. You don't sit in a show and say, I apologize, I really didn't know. And then your brother goes, maybe that Miriam Adelson money was for something. He knew exactly what it was for. I'm just sick of all the lies. I'm sick of nobody is real. Everything is fake. All the influencers on social media are getting paid to say the things that they pay when they post about we should get welfare for sodas or India is the best. Or when all of these right-wing influencers are promoting some Papua New Guinea gambling website. Remember that one? I'm just sick of it. It's all fake. It's all fake. Everybody's lying. It's pay for play. Everybody knows it.
I don't know if it's a sign of success or failure. I never get those requests. Like, nobody comes up to me and says, pitch a soda. Like, I'm going after these healthy energy drink companies. Like, hey, I'd like to work with you. Nobody even offers me that. No, but I when it comes to
Would you take the money for it?
No, nothing would ever be undisclosed.
This is why you don't get the offer. This is why I don't get the offer. So when the big debate was, should people be allowed to buy Doritos and Pepsi on SNAP benefits? And MAGA was like, no, because principally, we are united. Welfare should be for a carton of milk, a loaf of bread, and some eggs maybe some flour. You will eat healthy, get vegetables. We're not paying for your junk food. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of conservatives were like, the government can't tell us what we're allowed to buy. People should be allowed to buy soda pop on welfare benefits.
Which is a dumb argument, because when it's with a government subsidy, you're damn right they can dictate what you do, what you do with what they give you.
And there's a couple companies that work with a ton of these right-wing personalities that know they will say whatever. So I want to give a shout out to Riley Gaines for promoting Animal Farm.
Rough. Come on.
You know what, man? Like, I imagine the track of my career will be me sitting in a ditch somewhere with a long, scraggly beard covered in dirt because I am unwilling to play the stupid political games. So when they offered us, mid 5 figures for the Animal Farm sponsorship, I put out a tweet saying, I reject this and I'm so offended by it, I will announce this. And I did it because I knew a bunch of grifter right-wingers were going to praise this communist movie for money because everything is fake. There's a small handful of honest individuals and everybody else knows full well. And I remember that moment back when I was a lot younger, when Michael Moore was asked by somebody, Luke Rutkowski knows more about this, why didn't you bring up, he was asked about something pertaining to 9/11. And they said, why didn't you bring up building, I think it was like building 7 or something in Fahrenheit 9/11? And then he goes, well, that would be un-American. And he just walked off. It was something like that. And that was like a big moment. I think, how old was I? Like 19, or it might have been loose change or something. And I'm just like, Michael Moore knows more than he puts in his documentaries, because he puts in his documentary something that is valuable to someone with power so that he will also get power. If he actually did legitimate documentaries that actually spoke truth to power, they would not let them run.
I do have to say, your analysis of Animal Farm, like I would have never taken the movie seriously because it was, who was the voice? It was Seth Rogen. I mean, you're dealing with
Kieran Culkin and
you're dealing
Laverne
with
Cox was in it.
No, you're dealing with the utmost of Hollywood degenerates who are now purportedly working with Angel Studios. I still think it was all sabotage. The idea of
like they were trying to sabotage
Angel Studios.
Well, the fact that Napoleon farts and goes, here, that's the sound of freedom, which is explicitly an attack against what made Angel Studios big, the Sound of Freedom, their movie.
I was told I'm sensitive for thinking that was a deliberate joke that was totally inappropriate and denigrates their entire brand. But the idea of being paid to give a fake opinion of a movie, and again, it goes back to people saying, well, I would have, this was my opinion anyhow, I may as well get paid for it. You remember Dinesh got into big trouble for, or, got some blowback for putting out it was one of the markets.
Polymarket, I think.
I think it was Polymarket. I don't want to give anyone, undue credit or not, where it was a topical issue at the time. What was the post about? And it said underneath,
you're telling the story, pal.
It was, it was a topical issue. I forget exactly what it was about. And then it said paid sponsorship. It had to do with.
Right, I remember this. And people were like, is this hypocrisy?
Yeah, but hold on. What was the damn subject matter? This is where I need to do like I'm going crazy.
The general issue was he put out an opinion tweet, but Polymarket paid him to attach the tweet, so it was listed as paid sponsorship, paid partnership, and then everyone said his opinion was fake. And the same thing is true with Riley Gaines. She's sitting there asking about Patriot Mobile, and she's like, "What are the 4 pillars?" And then the left said, "Haha, this proves she doesn't have her own values." When no, she was asking what the values of the company was, and then espousing their script.
It was over Thomas Massey. That's why I remember what the issue was. Right. And people were saying paid partnership, and then I think people thought it was a paid partnership from a Galrain pack or whatever. And that was the undisclosed. And I said, it would have been helpful if it was clarified it was a Polymarket sponsored tweet and not one of the PACs. But again, like the second money exchanges hands, then you are, and you're attaching it to what is purportedly a sincerely held belief. You can't criticize people or blame people for thinking that taints the purportedly sincerely held belief.
The way I see it is that the truth has no advocates and lies have lobbyists. So when you look at the truth, for what reason would the left call out Angel Studios putting out a communist film? They wouldn't. For what reason would the right? Well, they don't get paid if they do, so they don't. So right-wingers promoted the film, took the money, and equivocated and lied and said whatever they had to say to justify taking the money, and the left let them do it because the film was communist. It was pro-communist. So the truth doesn't have a paid advocate because the truth doesn't make money.
Or flip side, a lot of them did not have the fundamental, intricate understanding of the book itself to even adequately compare it to the movie. Your analysis and your understanding of the book itself made me want to go back and reread it.
But it's not even about that. It's about the fact that the movie is, whether you read the book or not, it starts with the bank foreclosing on a farm, so they sell the farm, the animals, to a massive corporation to kill the animals, and the animals don't revolt. They say, "Oh no, we're going to die. We have to fight back." Like, the whole movie was just communism. It was like watching Hassan Piker narrate why capitalism is bad, and these people took money to promote it. This is the reality. I think Trump knows it. Democrats all know it. And there is no institution of the truth. How do you make money off the truth? Let's be real. Let's say you've got a great medication that can cure diseases. Will you make more money telling the truth or lying? Lying will always make you more money.
I want to remain optimistic and say that at the end of the day, if your brand has any taint to it, then it'll, I say, cost you. At the end of the day, there's only so much money you need on Earth, and there's only so much you can sell your soul for.
Look, man,
I like to think credibility in the long term. If you don't have all the money, at least you have that goodwill, and you have that.
Listen, for speaking at least in the music industry, every record is the best record they've ever made.
Well, let me put it like this: like let's speak politically. With we'll throw Sam Cedar into the mix. You say you have to have your credibility. Well, I certainly don't have any credibility to people who watch that guy because he lies all the time. So in their mind, I believe things I don't actually believe because he lies to them to make them believe it. So again, he makes money off of lying to these people who won't come and watch this show and don't actually care what I think. They embrace the lies. So liberals think I'm lying all the time and we're fake news, and they say we're brainwashing people. And the people who watch the show know that we're not. But you will never have pure credibility. So in the end, you end up with these people on the right and the left who say, listen, you're never going to win the purity test. You're never going to win the honesty contest. Maximize money, extract value, and live well. That's the mentality of most elites. And as it was explained to me when I was 19 years old by this wealthy guy at some political fundraiser in Chicago, some guy said to me, listen, somebody's got to work at McDonald's. That's all that matters.
It's true.
I want to get the quote because I always misquote it, but I like to presume, A, there's only so much money you need on Earth. B, your pride, integrity, and honesty is invaluable. And what good is all the wealth of the world for he who has forsaken their soul?
Yes, understood. But my point is, liberals think you are lying about everything all the time. So when you say you have your credibility, my point is half the country thinks you're a liar and half the country thinks you're honest.
I think even liberals know that I'm damn accurate most of the time. And when I make a mistake, I admit it.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely not true. And we all know it.
Actually, furthermore, if you admit to a mistake, they're going to make sure that they hold you accountable. You're not going to get forgiveness. So never give them anything. Never say you're sorry. Never apologize. Never,
like
ever,
Sam Cedar
ever.
made 4 videos about me following UFC, and they were all fake. One of them, he said that Tim Pool cheers on Bud Light or whatever. I was literally ragging on Bud Light. I made fun of Bud Light. I said, woke is dead. It's so dead that even Bud Light is now desperately trying to get into UFC and the Trump White House event. And then he made a video segment about how Tim Pool is a Bud Light fan.
He might actually, I think it's more likely he's actually just dumb and didn't understand.
No. He came on this show. He asked me a hypothetical where he said something like, what do you think about abortion? I said, I'm pro-choice, right? I think the challenge is when a woman has a serious medical issue, the pro-life stance would result in the woman having to go to a judge to get a writ before she can get a medical treatment. While I'm not a fan of abortion as contraception, I don't know if you could put a legal restriction in place where a woman needing a medical intervention, like the baby and the mom are going to die, would have to seek a judge. And then he goes, well, yeah, but like, what would a conservative say? And then I said, well, a conservative would say. Then when I said it, he started screaming at me at the top of my lungs about how I was sick for claiming these things, about how saying that a young girl who was raped would have to have that baby, you sick. And then he goes, I just want to get that clip real quick.
Oh,
He explicitly
that's a
admitted
son of a bitch.
knowing his audience is so stupid, they will never investigate. And he could take the clip from the show, run it on his channel, get 500,000 views, make a couple grand. And again, his audience is so dumb, they will never investigate whether it's true. This is what these people do. The truth has no advocates. The liars have the lobbyists. And he's a great one. And he makes a lot of money. I'm imagining he's a millionaire off this stuff. So how do you convince... Like, listen, I don't want to single the guy out because conservatives, obviously, when these people came out and said, India is our greatest partner, we should be doing all of these things for India. It's like, yeah, you got paid for that. Writing op-eds for India, shilling welfare benefits for soda, you may as well be a lib when you're like, we should be allowed to buy soda with welfare cards. It's just, guys, 90% on the left and the right are going to be grifters. They're getting paid to say the things that they say. And then on the left, I find almost no honest people. They're either really dumb or lying. And on the right, you do have a handful of people that are genuinely honest and are not getting paid to do these things. We don't get paid to do these things, and I reject them. And that's why I called out Angel Studios. I don't care if they claim to be Christian, conservative, otherwise. When they were like, we want you to promote this and we'll give you a lot of money to do it, I said, hell no.
It is amazing to not have... I appreciate marketing is one thing, but to not have sufficient confidence in the quality of your own product, that you got to pay people to convince people it's good. Videos go viral on their own.
But at least in the context of the Animal Farm stuff, that was an op. The whole point of that was to basically like stain what conservatives thought as a timeless argument for their perspective, right? And what they wanted to do was to actually, like, that's a demoralization campaign.
Well, I think they wanted to expose the right as being willing to shill for communism for money.
If that fits into, I believe it was sabotage on Angel Farms. I appreciate, Angel Studios, and I appreciate that, the sound of freedom fart joke, might have gotten past the ears of people. If you operate on the basis of the entire thing was sabotage, that's an interesting element to add to it. It's a sabotage of the conservative influencers who are now revealed to have highly manipulated opinions based on financial incentive.
Yeah, I think I think that it wasn't that they were sabotaging Angel Studios, but that Angel Studios was sabotaging the personalities.
Yeah, but my question is, why on earth would Angel Studios? I mean, I don't know.
They want to get in with Hollywood. So they're desperate to buy these. They want A-list celebrities who are all woke, lefty communists. Angel Studios wants to be in. So you want to be in a club, you got to get hazed. You know what I'm saying? It's remarkable that they made this movie, which is overtly communist. Andy Serkis said it was. He didn't say communist. He said it's anti-capitalist, modern. Then the Angel Studio guys came out and said, no, it isn't. Like, it was explicit and overt that everybody knew this film was anti-capitalist. Even leftists were like, yeah, it's anti-capitalist. And then they offered conservatives money to promote it. And I think, honestly, I'd consider doing the same thing. You can think of it as like culture jamming. Like Angel Studios is like, we're going to expose all of these conservatives as grifters. Watch this. They'll take money to promote communism. That'll prove it. At that point, I'm kind of like,
I still haven't seen the movie, but I think I better reread the book before I watch the movie.
Yeah, so like in the book, the pigs steal the eggs from the chickens, and then when the chickens complain, they get executed. And in the movie, the chickens all team up with farmhouse and sell their eggs for money, but the pigs take all the profit.
I love the idea. I love the idea of making a video, of making a movie that you want to make money off of, complaining about capitalism. I mean, that is it's the embodiment of selling a rope that you're going to use.
But nobody has a real complaint about capitalism, not even the communists. The complaint they have is literally just communism. Communists are mad about communism, complain, and call communism capitalism. For example, they say things like the most powerful elites of corporations get all of the money while the workers get nothing, and then they have a revolving door with the government where they share jobs. That's why capitalism is bad. And you go, Capitalism is the private trade between individuals who choose. What you're talking about is protectionism, which is the government intervening to the benefit of powerful elites, which is what communists have always done. So communists are mad about the communist encroach in the United States, and they've been convinced capitalism, free trade amongst individuals, is the problem because they're not smart enough to understand it.
And there's a difference between the people who write the movies and the people who greenlight and fund them. So the people who fund the movies just look at it as a way to make money, even if it's not a message that's inherent to what they believe in. And the people who write the movies might be true believers, might not, but more often than not, they get their paycheck up front. Some of them might, some of the actors that are, really, really big will take their points on the back end and bet on themselves that they'll make more if the movie does well. But the writer who doesn't care for that doesn't matter. They just write the movie, and then whatever happens, happens.
We're going to save the Montreal shooting story for the uncensored portion because there is video that one of the issues of contention is whether or not the female cop killed a civilian, and it looks like she did. We can't show this on YouTube, but Rumble we can, and also with the caveats, it's not for your kids. It's the uncensored portion, not so family friendly. But we can talk about this from Politico. California clashes with Trump DOJ over election fraud. I'd like to introduce you all to evil when I show you this story. State officials say they're monitoring federal activity after prosecutors announce investigations tied to the primary count. The first question I have for Viva: what is the purpose of any investigation?
Presumably it's to determine if charges should be laid.
No. Any investigation. I didn't say criminal.
Oh, well, then it's to discover the truth, presumably.
The truth. And how do you prove the truth to somebody? What do you need?
Well, you need a little thing called evidence.
Indeed. So when you launch an investigation, it's because you are seeking out evidence, correct?
Presumably, yes.
Presumably, yes. Most investigations
Unless it's a disingenuous or a cover-up of an investigation, much like what we had with, I would argue, P. Diddy and Ghislaine Maxwell, but we don't need to.
So the idea generally is there is probable cause to believe a crime has occurred. Following this, an investigation begins. So probable cause, and I mean this in the honest sense, but often cops don't use it that way, is an officer smells marijuana. There's an individual in a parked car. It's got tinted windows. You can't see inside. And there's a strong odor of marijuana coming from it. Now he has probable cause, but no evidence or proof. He just thinks maybe. And this is justified for him to then knock on the door and say, I need you to step out of the vehicle. I have probable cause that there may be a crime being committed. And then sure enough, he conducts an investigation in which he finds smoked and actively lit marijuana in a vehicle and says, my investigation has bore evidence. You are under arrest. Otherwise, where do you get the evidence from? So this is the point. Let me start by saying this because I'm going to drop the hammer in a second on Politico. In California, James O'Keefe documented homeless people getting paid to sign petitions and government forms under false names and identities. These accusations have been around for a long time. The fact that there is a video of a man going, yeah, I'm Teresa, and signing the document, that there are people saying, I got paid $5 to sign this petition.
To specify, homeless people on Skid Row who
Yes.
are clearly unwell.
Now, when you have an investigation into this fraud, whether or not it's true or not, we're looking for the evidence to back up these claims. I would argue that James O'Keefe's videos provide evidence, but not government-level evidence. For the government, it is akin to the smell of weed. I saw a video, but we don't know for sure. We weren't there, and we can't attest to it. So we have probable cause to believe that these stories indicate a crime has been committed, and we must launch an investigation to determine if that is actually the case. Now, if you're on the other side of that fraud, as in the criminal conducting it, you are going to want to poison the well and make sure no one believes a crime has been committed, and you want to accuse your enemies of being corrupt. I give you Politico. They say, tensions between the Trump administration and California Democratic leaders escalated as primary ballot counting continued Friday after federal prosecutors said, without evidence, that he's investigating unspecified allegations of voter fraud. Now, the first thing I want to point out is, I'm going to say it explicitly, this is evil, and they are lying to manipulate people. The next thing I want to point out is, remove the without evidence, and we'll read the sentence. A federal prosecutor said that he's investigating unspecified allegations of fraud. Now, I want you to understand why this is a manipulation tactic to poison the well. The sentence does not say he found voter fraud. It says he's investigating. You don't need to provide evidence that you are doing a thing, right? Like, If I said that I knew Phil kicked a dog and I had no evidence, you could say Tim claimed without evidence Phil kicked a dog. Well, that's a claim against Phil. But what if I said I was looking into whether Phil kicked a dog? Why would you need evidence? The person's telling you he's doing it. There's nothing to prove that he's doing it other than to say you are. The without evidence is a poison the well caveat. So when liberals or moderates read this, the presumption they're intended to make is that Trump is fabricating claims of fraud so they can steal political power. But I will stress one more time, sorry. It says a federal prosecutor said he's investigating. That's it. You don't need to prove you're investigating something.
Did we not do this the last time where we pulled up a series of articles that had without evidence, and basically it becomes the predictor? I mean, my experience now is when they throw in the without evidence, it becomes the predictor that what they're actually trying to deny is true.
Yes.
And you just put in like any story, look for the without evidence or without whatever. There is not evidence of. We've seen the videos. I had on a guy named Mark Grobert. The week after the election, who has explained how these long count ballot harvesting systems work in California. He's a journalist, used to be in Hollywood, called it to a T and predicted exactly how it was going to go, and it played out exactly how it did, where you have people registered to non-existent addresses or literal homeless people, drug addicts, who are being paid to do this. And so they just go, it takes a month to count the ballots. You can accept them for a week after Election Day. And it's documented, it's predicted, it's predictable, and it comes to fruition. But they throw in the word without evidence. It's not tainting the pool. It is just a false framing that itself becomes predictive of the truth of what they're trying to deny.
Well, I mean, it is tainting the pool, right? They're telling the viewer or whoever, person that reads it, they're telling them what they should think right off the bat. It's poisoning the well right away.
It is certainly. I mean, I think it's editorializing. It's no longer news right now. This is advocacy for an administration. It's a lie. I mean, I guess that's poison. It's a bald-faced lie, and they throw it in. Just pay attention. Everybody should do it when they're reading articles. How often they use that term?
I don't know that it's a lie because it is true that there isn't evidence yet. But the way that they frame it as, and this is something that did start with Trump, right? Like Trump wrongly accuses Trump, they started editorializing in the headlines. And I don't recall seeing that prior to Donald Trump, right? During the whole George Bush administration, there was all kinds of times when they could have said that George Bush said in the headline that George Bush was wrong or something. I don't recall ever seeing that. You definitely didn't see it with Barack Obama. But things changed when Donald Trump came.
They claimed there was weapons of mass destruction without evidence.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done the same kind of things, in any time previously, but it started with Donald Trump. And I don't know if that is actually because of Donald Trump or because society had changed so much leading up to that, 2016 or whatever.
The average attention span of a person is so low now, I would be willing to bet that they want the person who's looking to confirm their own bias to read, and as soon as they get to the word without evidence, they just shut it off. They stop reading any further because they've had their bias confirmed.
I mean, maybe, but they still want that click. And if it's just in the headline, you don't expand the page. Your decision's made for you.
The issue is it's not just without evidence. And people use the term without evidence and they say, well, there is no evidence. But there's two terms of the two definitions to the term evidence. One is in a courtroom of evidence. And the other one is colloquially, what do you have to substantiate what you're trying to do? And I agree, people apply the different criteria to the different term depending on how they want to understand it. But yeah, it's paid advocacy for an administration. It's paid advocacy to criticize an administration.
It doesn't even have to be paid.
Well, they do.
That's why I don't think the click matters because
maybe no, it is just about.
They have their audience and they have their they want happy return customers, and if they just say after shocking video emerges of crackheads saying, I don't know if it's true, they might be lying or they might be confused. After shocking video, multiple videos of crackheads say they got paid $5, cheap also, by the way.
Very cheap.
What kid? I mean, I'm not even trying to be glib. Other than on Skid Row, maybe a fraction of a portion of drugs. I don't know how it works. What can you get for $2? You can't even get a bottle of water at a gas station.
Maybe you can get a burger, cheeseburger.
I have no idea what drugs cost or the fraction of drugs that you can get for $2, and maybe that's enough for a moment of. Whatever.
I mean, if you vote 10 times, you can get a 20 rock, right? I guess.
Close, yeah.
But,
a burger's a burger.
Yeah, a burger is a burger.
But and I say the evidence in a non-court setting that is emerging of what everybody knows is going on in California. The real issue is whether or not it's even illegal under California law what they're doing. Like,
No.
all right, well, and that's my understanding is, okay, fine. It's immoral. It's institutionalized codifying cheating. Well, nobody said I can't take money, and I live here, and I don't care who I vote for, so give me $5 and I'll sign whatever.
Yeah, I think that the actual exchange of money is illegal, but James O'Keefe went and actually, I'm not sure if it was James O'Keefe that actually did this, but there was a video of someone going to the police saying, hey, they're over there giving money for people to register to vote and voting. And the cop was like, that sounds like a civil issue.
Outside of being told by his commanding officer to go do something about it, I just can't imagine them going into
No, why would they? I mean, what are they going to do? Bust up the ring of vote purchasers?
Fraud?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not. It likely isn't something that the average police would consider in their wheelhouse or whatever, But it is, otherwise, aside from the direct cash payments for getting the votes, all of the other stuff that makes California's voting system questionable, for lack of a better term, all of it's codified in law, and this is something that we've been talking about a lot.
The $2 was not for the vote; it was compensation for time for them to listen, and then it's terrible. It's like, but you can never get out of the system, and now you've got. I think Spencer Pratt is basically relinquished. You've got commie and super commie running for mayor now, and
well, possibly it depends on how the Supreme Court of the case comes down. I guess tomorrow, and if they say that they have to.
Would that retroactively change it?
I don't know it might. I mean, maybe, or maybe not. But at the same time, if they're still counting now, and the Supreme Court says, then it's like, hey, you at least have to stop counting. So whatever her name is, I think it's Tandir. It would still be the second highest vote getter in the LA mayor's race. But I would like to see the Supreme Court rule that you have to stop at the very least have to stop on election day. But we'll see what they decide.
Hold on. I have to refresh my memory. The Supreme Court, though, I think it's federal presidential elections. It's not going to be state mayoral or governor elections.
The states constitutionally, states will dictate how they do their elections, but the federal government can say this is when it has to stop. If I understand correctly, now someone out there can check me and tell me I'm an idiot. That's fine.
All that I know is everybody saw what was going to happen. Nithya Raman was crying during her, call it a concession speech. She never formally conceded, but she was referring to her campaign in the past tense, and we tried, and we did, and we still made a mark. And when we first started, nobody knew who we were, and we had no institutional power. And you count long enough, and she made up a 7% differential because... My goodness, it was the midnight bump. It was the midnight Biden bump. It just took 3 weeks to manufacture. You have to find those crackheads and pay them and get those ballots and get them in. You can count them a week after Election Day, so long as they're postmarked before or on Election Day. And what could possibly go wrong?
I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Look, this is the blueprint for what the Democrats want to do, federally. And obviously, we all hope that it doesn't, because you look at the results of the 2020 election, and Joe Biden got 81 million votes or something like that, more than anyone ever. Excuse me. The reason was because they were mailing votes out and then collecting them. I'm not a universal enfranchisement guy. I think that we should severely limit the franchise, severely limit who's allowed to vote. And now I also understand that, look, that horse has probably left the barn. It's probably not going to ever go my way. I understand that. But I still think that the average person will swear up and down that all the people that they run into every single day are stupid idiots. They'll get on the highway and they'll talk about how dumb everybody is, blah, blah, blah. And then with that very same mouth that they swear everybody's dumb, they'll say, yes, everyone should have the right to vote.
Well, depending on what you mean by disenfranchisement, so long as everybody who's eligible to vote has the opportunity to vote on election day.
The problem is how many people are eligible to vote, Viva. That's what I'm saying.
18 and citizens. But
no.
Well, now
that's
you're talking.
Way too much. No, it's way too much.
You'll have
in federal elections, there needs to be some kind, or there should be some kind of limit or some kind of prerequisite to be able to vote in federal elections. I don't care about state. I don't care about local. Those are the things that really affect your life anyways. So the average person that goes and votes in their local elections, they're having far more impact on their day-to-day life than if they're voting for who the president is. They get worked up about the president, but the president has actually a limited amount of impact on your day-to-day life. But when it comes to federal elections, the franchise should be severely limited. And I'm not saying that it should be limited by gender or race or anything like that. There should be some kind of limit, though.
I want to show you guys this before we go to the Rumble Rants and Super Chats, because while you were talking, I intentionally set up Claude so I could share with you the sort of institutional manipulations and lies. This also plays into why I think AI is going to destroy humanity. But it's largely about the presumptions and perceptions of the average person. The first thing I'll say is, for those that are not familiar with the recitation problem in AI that I rant about quite a bit, it's that AI doesn't actually answer your questions. It answers something totally different. So I started with this. In California, you can fill out a mail-in ballot 4 days after the election, hand date it, doodle a picture of Mickey Mouse and drop it off at a polling station, and they will count the ballot. And it says, that's not accurate. A few corrections. Now, hold on there a gosh darn minute. I am completely accurate. And at the end of this conversation, Claude concludes, actually, you were right about everything the whole time. But see, the issue is, Claude is not addressing what I said. This is the first manipulation tactic that we're going to start seeing that's going to trick a lot of stupid people into, well, you know, being sheep herded up by a sheepdog. It says California accepts mail-in ballots that are postmarked on or before Election Day and received within 7 days after. But a ballot you fill out after the election would be voting after the legal deadline. You're supposed to mark it by Election Day. The postmark return rules are about transit time, not a window to keep voting. My original statement does not say you would date it after the fact. I said you could hand date it. It added two things right off the rip. It added that you can't vote after Election Day. It's like when people on the right say voter fraud, like we should ban voter fraud, and they go, but there is no voter fraud. And it's like, you've never investigated voter fraud. So it gets better. The signature requirement is real but specific. You must sign the return envelope, and that signature is compared against the one in your voter registration. A drawing of Mickey Mouse instead of your actual signature would fail signature verification. I never said your signature on file was not Mickey Mouse. So again, it added the assumption your signature is not Mickey Mouse. No. In California, did you know this? You can, when they ask for your signature, you can draw Mickey Mouse and it'll appear on your ID or wherever they put your signature. When you vote, you can draw Mickey Mouse. Now, the reason that's significant is that anyone can draw Mickey Mouse. So if they're doing signature verification and it's a picture of Mickey Mouse and 17 million people can draw that picture, how are you verifying a signature at all? You're not.
The signature verification is illusory. It's almost just, it's a word. It's not done, period. We saw it in Carrie Lake's contestation of the Arizona election. They don't do signature verification. What it's basically saying is like, did you look at it with your eyes? Yes. No processing, no nothing, no meaningful
comparison. It's worse than that. It's worse than you realize in California. So I'll go through this quickly as to not waste time. I told it was incorrect. It said, why am I wrong? And I said, they do not need to be post-dated. And it says, you're right, there's no requirement to post-date. And I implied a date stamp by the voters, mandatory. But it goes on to say, if it's going to receive a ballot after Election Day, it does have to be post-dated. I said, nothing I said in my first claim was incorrect. And then it goes on to once again assume illegality, which I never asserted. I never said it was legal. Fair point, it says. I never said the doodle didn't match. Oh, you're right. Actually, your signature could be Mickey Mouse. The law allows 7 days after the election for drop-off. And it says, yes, actually, if it's from a certified mail carrier. I told to read Section 20991 and Section 3020. I said, you are incorrect in assuming legality. I never asserted legality. Obviously, the point is it would be illegal. But let me show you where the hammer drops. I said they won't reject hand-dated ballots after Election Day if they assume or don't care that it wasn't received on time. The point is this. If a homeless guy fills out a ballot, backdates it by hand drops it off, first, the individual counting the vote isn't going to outright reject it if they just don't care. It'll get counted. If they assume it was fine to receive or that this was hand-delivered, let me put it this way. When you drop off the mail-in ballot, you hand-dated, do you think the person's going to take it and go, I can't accept this? It's not post-dated. Or do you think they're going to go, they go in the box over there? You throw it in the box, and then what happens? They're all mixed up. We don't know when these came in, but they're hand dated for the election. Here's the kicker. The final point. First it says Mickey Mouse can't be a symbol. Then I said, read the Santa Barbara? No, San Bernardino, sorry. And then I sent it the PDF where you can use a doodle, and it was wrong. But here's the best part. The best part is that 2 officials have to determine fraud beyond a reasonable doubt to disqualify it. That means if a hand-dated ballot is received 4 days after the election with a doodle of Mickey Mouse on it, a single individual in California does not have the authority to reject it. A second official has to confirm that it came at the wrong time. So here's the best part. Homeless guy hands me a ballot. It's hand dated for election day. It's 4 days later. And there's a picture of Mickey Mouse on it. And I go, this was given to me after the deadline. I can't accept it, but I can't disqualify it because I need a secondary official. So then I go to Viva and I say, hey, check out this ballot that I got. A guy just gave it to me. It's hand dated for the election day. Second official goes, if it's got a date for the election day, then I say it's good. Okay, it's accepted. Because 2 officials have to agree that beyond a reasonable doubt, this is fraudulent. And you can only ever really have 1 if they're turned in late. Let's say a box of ballots comes in late. And 1 official says, these came in late. The other official goes, I can't confirm that, so I can't reject these ballots. They're accepted. And the other guy who goes, okay, I guess that's true. You can't prove it. The entire California voter system is fraud. It is fake. It is a lie. And in the end, here's the final question. To Claude, do you think that a reasonable person would consider this type of voting as legitimate? No, I don't think a reasonable person would call it legitimate. And I think you probably don't either, or you wouldn't have framed it the way you did. Indeed. That is how California runs their elections. I say, arrest them, shut it down. Federal government needs to go in. We're going to go, my friends, to your Rumble Rants and Super Chats. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. Before we do, we got a great sponsor for you guys. It is Backyard Butchers. Oh boy, beef. You know, my friends, I recommend you go to backyardbutchers.com. Use promo code Tim. Get some real beef from real ranchers, from real cows. Did you guys know that just 4 companies control the majority of America's beef supply? The largest is foreign owned. Here's what most people don't realize. This is the best part. You ready? A single pound of conventional grocery store ground beef can contain DNA from hundreds of different cattle. They take all different cows, throw them in a meat grinder, and get them all mixed up. So your burger is actually the mash of a bunch of... Man, you know, it just sounds weird, doesn't it? Well, Backyard Butchers doesn't do that. This is the American tradition where you know your rancher, you know the land, you know where your meat is coming from. They are the American tradition. Backyard Butchers offers premium American beef from real Texas ranchers, born, raised, and processed right here in America. 98% grass-fed, 2% grain-finished, no hormones, no antibiotics, no preservatives. Go to Backyard Butchers, use promo code TIM for up to 30% off, 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes, and free shipping. Plus, they're doing a special America 250 box celebrating 250 years of America. When you purchase a steakhouse box complete with burgers and dogs, built for my absolute favorite holiday, that is America Day, that is the 4th of July. Nothing beats a nice summer night on the grill with burgers and fireworks. Legit, best holiday. I love that. And you do it by a lake, too. You know, you're by a lake and a lawn chair with the fireworks going off.
Hell yeah.
Talk about America. Again, go to Backyard Butchers. Use promo code TIM. 30% off. 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes and free shipping. Backyard Butchers, American tradition, American meat. Thanks for sponsoring sponsoring the show, guys. Of all the sponsors that we get, I love the ones where it's like a steak. You know, because the people that we don't like, they don't want us eating steak. If Bill Gates had his way, you'd never have a steak again.
Nope.
And I'm not even kidding. It's kind of creepy if you think about it.
Yeah.
He's walking around being like, I don't like that people are eating beef. Now you got these Lone Star ticks everywhere and people are allergic to beef.
Now you remind me, I got to check my legs for ticks because we went for a hike today, and I'm told West Virginia's pretty bad.
Doomed.
I'm from Canada. We in Canada, not only do they not celebrate the 4th of July,
beef's already illegal.
They snub. No, I discovered something last year. You can go around to where people set fireworks off in parks and everything, and the next day there's a lot of unexploded or undetonated.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. Bro, let me tell you stories about when I was like 10 years old in Chicago. 5th of July, we go through every alley, and we'd probably have like a wheelbarrow full of fireworks. Yeah.
It's amazing. I've been sitting on some since last year, waiting to set them off this year.
Dude, it's pretty nuts. Like they're illegal everywhere, but everybody gets them. And so I remember one time we found, you know what a Thunder King is?
Yes, I do, but tell
it's-
those who don't. Okay,
Well, it launches a mortar that's massive. It shoots in the air, goes boom. It's very loud. We found a bunch of them, and then like one kid tried lighting one, I guess, at our elementary school. But when he lit it, it fell over, and everyone ran, and it fired it at a dumpster, and boom, and put a dent in it. I wasn't there when it happened, but you know. And then some kid found a quarter stick, I think it was a half stick of dynamite, and blew his hand off.
What?
Yeah, he blew his hand off. Yeah, down the street from my house. And then everyone was claiming that he thought it was a Roman candle.
Oh my!
And so he lit it and was holding it.
That's
No,
Even if it were a Roman candle, that's why you don't do it, because Roman candles every now and again explode sideways.
no one. I don't believe it. Like we thought that he just was trying to light a stick of dynamite, and the fuse was short. So when he lit it, it went fast and blew his hand off before he could throw it.
You know, I've seen videos and pictures of what hands look like after that, and it's
Yeah, don't mess around.
not pretty.
Don't mess around. It's not worth it. I once took. I had. You know what a fountain is?
The sprays, the sparkles.
It
in the sky.
sprays, and so man, I tell you what happens. So it's like a little cone. You light the top, it starts spraying, and then it stops. The flame goes down and it stops. And then I walked over to kick it, like it was done, to kick it over, and it went boom right into my face. Yeah, but I was fine.
Well, we used to do the Roman candle battles and
yes.
Roman candle baseball, which is a lot of fun. Where you you try to hit
on like Dependence Day or something?
No,
like,
we just
kneel to the King Day, or
on Bastille Day up in up in Quebec.
in Canada. In Canada, you have like subservience to the Migrants Day.
You know, they talk
Canada's for sale. It says so right back there.
Everybody
Been for
should
sale for a long time. China owns most of it.
Everybody should wear safety glasses anytime you're shooting off fireworks. It's my little.
Well, I would just say all the different jurisdictions have different legalities, and just follow the local laws, and you know. And also, the most important thing is, if you're in a rural, like we were out here, 4th of July like 2 years ago, and it was dry.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what we launched, but the grass started on fire.
Yep.
And we were like, nope. And I'm like, we're done. It was way too dry for this. So we saw like, and I stomped it out. It wasn't a big deal, but like, so in a big field, because we got like 50 acres, bro, you might launch a bottle rocket, and some spark comes down, and it's 100 feet away, you don't see it, and then you're done, you go to bed, and the next day the whole forest is burnt down, and just who knows, you know what I mean? So,
Yep.
All right, let's grab what you guys got to say. Mythos says the duck died of avian flu. Get ready for lockdowns.
Oh God.
El Jefe says invade Canada.
No.
I don't know that we would need to invade them. You know, we just if Trump just said Canada's ours now, they'd be like, what do we do?
No, but I say not to be cynical, and I got into an X fight where someone says it's a lie that people are fleeing Canada. It's not a lie. You don't need to invade Canada. Just wait for the best of what Canada has to offer to come down to the States. You know, Canada's losing GADSAD now, one of the greatest minds of Canada. You lost Jordan Peterson back in the day. There's
Seth Rogen even. They lost Seth Rogen.
Severely limit the franchise.
Send the Canadians back. Sorry, Viva.
No, I'd say like it's well, I don't want to. Don't
make me go back.
Oh God. No, I'll claim asylum. I mean, at some point, going back to Canada is going to be for the politically disfavored. It's going to be a risky proposition, and from a social perspective,
well, they'll force you to convert to Islam.
I'm sooner, more worried about the fact that they'll lock us up for tweets, and it's not, they're taking the lesson from the UK. They're not learning the lesson from the UK.
Yeah. All right, what do you got? Patriot Paladin says, would it be wrong to say the algae protesters are part of the LGBTQ?
Oh,
man, we got a bunch of comedians here today, huh?
Would it be
Sir
wrong?
Bros a lot says, following Timcast tradition, my wife and I are in the delivery ward welcoming our first child, Weston, praying he becomes a strong and honorable man. Let's go. All these babies. If someone's up to the task, take all the clips of all the baby announcements we've made and make like a 45-minute compilation, because
There's
it's
at least
a
one
lot.
every episode, at least.
Yeah. That's great. So many babies are being born. Archangel says, Tim, you should release a limited edition reflecting pool water. Oh, that's a good idea. Reflecting pool water.
Yeah.
No, just sell water that's colored green, and
I don't. So we have pool water. We've got some bottles that are behind Brett over there, but I don't know if we have a mechanism from our bottling distributor to actually make it green in any way.
Just a drop of green dye, just a little hit.
Yeah, my RFK
Food
would
coloring.
would.
I know.
We at the moment we pressed the moment we called the company and asked if you can do it, we turn around into the shadows. RFK would be in the corner and be like, "What do you think you're doing?" We'd be like, we'll take it back. We'll take it back, please. Here, damn well, better. Okay, I'm sorry.
Are there any like actually approved green dyes by the HHS?
Well, go natural. Maybe put in a few.
We should just tint the glass.
No, but you could do spirulina.
Yeah, there you go.
No, put in some sprinkles of lime.
No,
So it'll be like orbits with a little bit of vitamin C.
Spirulina is perfect. So spirulina is like an algae and it's a superfood, and they put it in drinks and it turns the drink green. Look it up. Spirulina is like you go to a smoothie restaurant and the last you can put spirulina in it. So if we just made water with a little bit of spirulina, you don't taste it, and you would have algae water, reflecting pool water.
The LGBTQ is actually pretty damn genius, is what that is.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, let's see what you guys are all on about over here in these old chats. Diane Peterson says, my daughter was selected for Musicians Abroad. It is for a European tour, and honestly, I need help sending her. If there's any way you could, it would be greatly appreciated. The link is Give Send Go Musicians Abroad AC Peterson. Thank you. I actually thought you were going to say she got accepted to go to Europe, and I'm contemplating not letting her go because I don't want her to die. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be dark or anything, but you know.
We were in Paris 2015 for a marathon on Chamonix. It was part of the Sky series, and I ran a marathon. And I told my wife and kids at the time, the ones who were born, this is probably the second time you get to see Paris, the first and the last, because I lived there in 99 to 2000. It was bad back then. It was exponentially worse in 2015. And like I say, like a palpable tension in the air that you could feel just walking the streets.
The last time I was in Europe was 2019. We did a month in Europe, and it was remarkably different from the first time that I went, which is I think 2005. Significantly different.
It's a different world now, and it's people say it's xenophobic or whatever you want to say. It's like I went to Toronto.
If I was xenophobic, why would I be in Europe at all?
Well, there. I could answer that question in a way that would be satisfactory, but no. The bottom line is, it's not xenophobic to notice an inorganic demographic shift in a country. To not notice it would make you an idiot, and to not notice it would make you arguably intolerant towards another demographic, the native population, which need not be ethnically homogeneous in and of itself.
Technic says, turn the reflecting pool into a piranha sanctuary. Problem solved. Can piranhas survive in DC's climate? I think the winter would kill them. You have to heat the pool.
Heat the pool.
Yep.
Or just reload it with piranha.
How deep is the pond? I think
it's 2 feet.
No fish would survive. I think you need to have at least 4 feet of water. No, well, does it freeze over there in DC?
Oh yeah.
So no, it has to be a sufficient depth to not freeze unless you heat the water.
No, the fish will be fine. I'm pretty sure the fish freeze, and then in the spring they just thaw out and come back to life.
No, I don't think that's.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's
we have.
I'm
ponds.
going to take a bet if that's.
Bro, we have ponds.
Yeah, but
they freeze every single year.
But they don't freeze
all the way through.
Top to bottom.
Yes, they do.
I'm looking this up. That will blow my mind because I thought.
Depends on the pond.
No, I know. I just don't think fish freeze and then thaw. I mean, the reptiles and amphibians, but I don't think fish can.
Reptiles tend to burrow into the ground.
Yeah, they go into a sort of a phase.
Fish.
I always thought the pond has to be a sufficient depth so that it freezes maybe 2-3 feet, and then there's a little bit of water underneath.
I don't know.
We're about to find.
But also depending on the
my world perspective on ponds and fish is going to change.
I think you're largely correct, but the thing is, it says the surface layer turns to ice, keeping the liquid water around 39 degrees Fahrenheit, where the fish remain.
Yeah, they become totally.
However, there are some species that have antifreeze proteins, so they don't freeze. They
go catatonic and they don't eat. And they don't do anything.
So all the frogs here, that's what happens.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: we have small ponds that are literally like a foot deep, and there's fish in them, and they froze over, and then in the spring, the little tiny goldfish, and then in the spring, fish were there.
Yep.
So their life cycle just pause?
No, I mean, I wonder if they fall into like a liquid port, because you could have like current that keeps certain pockets warm enough that it doesn't freeze, and then maybe they just go, they don't eat and they become lethargic.
Depends on how cold.
But dude, goldfish in the pond might be nice itself. It would add a speckled reflection of the monument behind. I have to go back to watch. I haven't been there in a little bit, but
it was nice. Like I said, I was there this weekend. It was really nice. Lots of people out. Had a nice picnic.
So to clarify, my mistake is that they don't freeze, but they basically are
totally
catatonic.
Catatonic.
Yeah, they stop moving and they barely move at all, and they eat little to nothing. So that's the general assumption. So to clarify, indeed. All right. Someone was mad because we didn't talk about Montreal yet. That's going to be in the uncensored portion of the show.
I'm going to double check and see if they've released a name yet. But
I think they did release the guy who, the civilian name that we were talking about.
Yeah, that I think he's identified as Mizrahi.
Yeah. Ooh, look at this. Joseph says, Andy Serkis is in the new Angel Studios film. So do you think they aired Animal Farm as a way to get a brand name actor? I wonder if that was part of the deal. We'll distribute Animal Farm, but we want you in one of our movies.
He's in another movie beyond Animal Farm?
That's what he's saying. We'll look this up. All right, my friends, we're going to talk about and show what happened in Montreal in the uncensored portion of the show. It's crazy, but the question is, did the lady cop kill a civilian? And this is the question we're gonna try to answer. So head over to rumble.com/Timcast IRL for the uncensored portion of the show. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Viva, do you want to shout anything out?
I was going to just text my kids and tell them not to watch this next portion of the show. VivaBarnesLaw.locals.com, Sunday night show across all platforms. I'm live daily on Rumble at 3 o'clock and cover legal, political, and add sometimes a sense of humor where it's humanly possible. That's basically it. And a little angrier Viva on X at the Viva Frei on X.
If you guys want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. You should check out Pop Culture Crisis. We are live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's noon Pacific. Also, make sure you sign up for the Timcast Discord because I'm doing shows twice a month, an additional hour of PCC content there, taking calls from you guys, as well as covering what's in the news. It's a lot of fun, so I will see you guys there. Thanks.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. You can check out our music on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
Can I just say one thing? I told you this before the show. I'm driving up here with my two kids. I didn't bring the dogs because they were
ornery.
They were. They're not housebroken or hotel broken for that matter. They are, but they have a problem. And I was telling my kids that Phil's in a metal band, and we listened to Divine on the way up here, and it was fantastic.
It was divine.
Thank you.
No, and I heard you when you were playing One Arm Scissor by, what was that band? At the drive-thru before the show. I was like, that's the sound, and it's a great sound.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Dude, thanks for coming, Viva. I'm Carter Banks. You can follow me at Carter Banks on X, at Carter Banks Official on Instagram. Also got a song out, and you can get it at aliveordeadsong.com. Follow the label at Trash House Records on YouTube. And let's get into it.
We will see you all at rumble.com/TimcastIRL right now. Thanks for hanging out.